Hello, good evening. We're live. This is over and over and over again the Positive Arsenal channel, and this is the Leicester versus Arsenal pre-match warm-up show. Hello, good evening. I'm Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again. In tonight's show, we're going to be looking ahead to this Sunday's Premier League game away at Leicester. Another really difficult game, another big game for Arsenal on the back of what's been quite a difficult schedule over the last couple of weeks in particular. Joining me tonight, I've got some guests coming on as well. We can look into the game. Just before I do that, just want to make sure that you are subscribed. If you subscribe to my channel, wherever you're watching it, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook or on Twitter, we're on all of those live at the moment. Please give it a like first of all, and I say nip over to YouTube as well and subscribe to the channel because it does help the channel to grow. I've had quite a lot of new subscribers actually over the last couple of weeks. Hope you're enjoying what I'm doing. If so, please share it around as well. And I say give it all a like. So we have got some guests coming on to talk about the game on Sunday, and also, of course, looking back at some history between the clubs as well. So it's going to be a good show. The first guest to come in, again, I say he's on every week. We love having him on. I'm sure he's getting sick of us now, but it's Melvin. How you doing, Melvin? You all right?
Yeah, fine, thanks. No, I'm not sick at all. I'm loving it. I'm just getting over last night, actually. I think I've run out of pills, but I've got 2 more to take to get me home from last night's game. I should be all right in a week.
It was quite stressful, wasn't it? The last 10 minutes in particular, I was on the edge of my seat, but it was good fun, and we did get through in the end, which was the main thing, I suppose. We've also got an enemy in the camp as well. It's from Leicester Fan TV, and it's Jack. How you doing, Jack? Welcome to the channel.
Evening, boys. Hope you're both well, and hello to all the viewers.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you on. I was just on Leicester Till I Die TV, actually. He said, I hope you didn't make us late. Actually, no, we're waiting for one of our other guests to come on. I was ready to go at 8 o'clock, but unfortunately, we were waiting until he comes, but he's still late. Anyway, Jack's here, which is the main thing. And I did say that my original prediction had been 4-0 to Leicester, and I did change my mind. Only in the week that was, Melvin. It was before they got knocked out of Europe, and when I thought we were going to get beaten after we lost to Man City. And also as well, we've got a comment there from the Worldly Podcast. Good intro. I'm glad you liked it. It took me about 3 days to make that, so I like it. I'm proud of it anyway. So I'm glad you like it as well, which is good. So yeah, I mean, what I really wanted to start with tonight is obviously the. I don't suppose Jack's going to be too happy to talk about it, but the Europa League, obviously last night, we scraped through by the skin of our teeth. And I was very shocked actually afterwards to see that you guys actually got knocked out. What did you make of the Leicester performance last night overall?
Poor, very poor. No one turned up, not even the crowd turned up. That's because they're not allowed in the stadiums, but the players done that also. So the passing were poor. We didn't really take the game to the Slavia Prague team, and it cost us. They took their chances when given. I just think we played poorly. We didn't really attack, and we didn't really play our game, and we got what we deserved.
Did you think that maybe Brendan Rodgers, I'm not saying necessarily took that game lightly, but he was maybe looking more ahead to obviously Sunday's game, the Premier League? You're still in a good position, aren't you, in the league in terms of the title race, possibly in the top 4. Do you think that he maybe gave that more priority than he did the Europa League?
Maybe in Brendan's mind, yeah, but as a fan, you want to see Leicester play the strongest team possible in every game. I get it's a lot of games, but you got to be in it to win it in every competition. I guess we underestimated Prague going into the first and the second leg. We thought it'd be a walkover, really, and it proved differently. And I guess with Brendan Rodgers, he tried resting Ricardo, Barnes and Castagna onto the bench, and really we needed them players to start. And seeing the team the way it was, I thought without them 3 key players, where was the pace going to come from? And we didn't really have much pace in the team. And then they scored the first goal, the away goal, and it went all downhill from there. We brought Barnes, Ricardo and Castagna on, and it never really changed the game. They scored a really rocket goal at the second, and I just couldn't believe while watching him was getting turned over by a team they call the Pub League of the Czech Republic League. So I guess they deserve to win at the end of the day. We didn't deserve it, and I think our eye was more on the Sunday game against Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt, and we've said it before on the show, that in Europe, when you're away in the first leg, a 0-0 draw actually is not a very good result, because as soon as the other team score an away goal, you've then got 2 goals to score. And I think what happened with Leicester last night, as soon as you conceded, you had to take more risks, and you're always likely to concede a second goal, aren't you? And I think a 0-0 result away from home is not the best result. You're better off, even, obviously we got a 1-1 draw, and you just need a goal, don't you, in the away leg, I think, to make life a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, I think going to Prague, it wasn't going to be easy playing on their turf. The pitch were poor, the referee were crap. But you can't blame the referee.
Was there an English referee there then?
No,
English referee?
They were a foreign referee.
So, I was going to say, you said it was crap. Sorry, Jack.
I guess in them in their playing at their ground, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, the referee could give them decisions, weighing even fouls, and we didn't really help ourselves in the first game. Barnes missed a 1-on-1 chance, and we never really looked like scoring after that, and decisions went against us. We got Nacho banned, and I think coming away with a 0-0 draw, we know we needed that away goal. If we would have got that away goal, we probably would have been going comfortably into the second leg. But because we didn't get it, we're always going to be difficult, because you're looking over your shoulder thinking, hold on a minute, it's 0-0, going into the second leg. If they score that goal, you've got to score 2. And it were a mountain to climb when they scored that first goal. And sitting there in the players' mind, it's like, oh, we've got to score 2 goals now. How are we going to do it? And when Prague scored, they sat back, and we had to take more risks, as you say, Richard, and we did that, and it cost us the second goal, and we had to score 3 goals to get back into it, which I don't think we had enough time to do it, and we didn't look like scoring anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we almost had the same problem, of course. Although we did get an away goal, we then conceded 2 away goals of our own, and we needed 2 goals. And luckily, we struck one back almost immediately, and we were able to kind of pull it off, really. I mean, I know I spoke to Melvin last night after the game. I know you felt maybe more relieved than anything else, didn't you, Melvin, that we'd managed to kind of sneak through, really. And it was sneak through a little bit, wasn't it? Because it wasn't a convincing performance from Arsenal, was it, last night?
Not at all. And if history is anything to go by in the last couple of years, when we've needed a goal the last 5 minutes of a game, we've never got it. So I was shocked and worried last night that, hold on, is it going to be the same like normal? We don't actually turn up the ante to try and get a goal. We don't throw everything at the other team. And as you say, we were fortunate that we got a goal straight away. Brilliant goal from Tierney. That gave us a bit of hope. But then we went back again for a little bit, I thought. And then it wasn't like we were really giving them a lot of trouble. And a little bit of half genius for Saka. And it turned the game on its head. And would have been an embarrassing result over 2 legs against Benfica, because I thought Benfica were a poor team. And to get knocked out by them would have been very embarrassing. But it could have happened. The odds were on that, where it was going.
Yeah, no, it could have done. I mean, funny enough, Melvin, there's an interesting stat, actually, that last night, that's only the second time this season, and I think it's only the second time under Arteta, that we've gone behind in the second half of a game and come back to win.
Is that right?
Yeah, the only other time this season was in the Europa League as well, away at Rapid Vienna, the first group game. We went 1-0 down.
When Luis scored?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the only other game this season that in the second half. And there's only one other game where we've gone behind in the first half and come back and won. That was Southampton. So that was breaking the trend for the season last night to actually go behind and win. Very, very rare, even under Arteta. I think last season there was only maybe 2 games I can remember. Everton in the league where we conceded at the beginning and came back and won. And obviously the FA Cup final. But other than that, I don't think we've done it under Arteta anyway. So that's like, what, 4 or 5 games?
We done Liverpool in the league, didn't we? We were losing to Liverpool.
Actually, no, we were. Yeah, we were losing to Liverpool, yeah.
That's the only one I can think of.
That was all in the first half. But, yeah, no, we were losing that game as well. Yeah. That's another one then. But, yeah, that's probably it then, isn't it? There's not many.
Yeah, that's it. Over all those games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's unusual that we do it. So we broke a trend a bit there, hopefully, last night. That might give us a little bit of confidence, perhaps. There's a comment in there about Ivan Toney being a Vardy replacement. I don't know about that.
Ivan Toney scored goals for Peterborough. He was Peterborough's top scorer, Brentford's top scorer now. So he's working his way through the leagues. We got rid of him at the age of 16 out of our academy. He then went to Northampton and worked his way from there. But I guess it'd be a big miss, Leicester getting rid of such a good player, but they didn't know the potential he had. And obviously they thought he could find better elsewhere, but now we're being linked with him, and I think he'd be a very good replacement. So he's a good player. How old is he? Is he 26? Yeah, I think he'd be a good player for Leicester. He's got the speed, he's got the knowledge, and he's got the height as well, what we need. So all around, a very good footballer, and hopefully he can take his game another level by joining Leicester in the Premier League if we can get him.
I mean, obviously, Vardy's not quite ready to retire yet, though, is he? He's got a couple of years left in him, has he?
Definitely. He's still going to be banging them in against you lot for another few years.
I can't wait to retire because I'm sick of him scoring against us now. It's ridiculous. And Shane said there that knockout stages in Europe last year were more entertaining with just one leg. Yeah, of course they are, because everyone just goes for it, don't they? The away goals rule tends to make everybody a little bit more cautious, I think, over the two games. I mean, our game last night was quite exciting in the end, a little bit more exciting than we perhaps wanted. But yeah, I think generally the two legs aren't as good. We've seen by the FA Cup over the years, the one-leg games are much more exciting, aren't they? But yeah, obviously money's more important, isn't it, than what's better for the game. So that's why we've still got two legs, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I say obviously our record as well away at Leicester actually in recent years hasn't been particularly good. I know we did win in the League Cup this season. I know it was a weaker team maybe for both sides actually, wasn't it? And we maybe managed to sneak through there, but we've lost our last three in the league actually at Leicester. But what I was going to say was, Jack, your home form is your problem, hasn't it, this season?
Oh, yeah. We've lost against teams like Fulham, West Ham. We've lost to Villa. We've lost some games where you think, oh, Leicester should be winning these, and we're not winning them. It's been our downfall. Our away form this season's been tremendous. We've lost to Liverpool away from home, and I think we've drawn to Crystal Palace as well. So in the Premier League away from home, we're fantastic. Our home form, I don't know what's going wrong this season. I don't know whether it's the crowd or what. So I'm not sure. Hopefully we can find a thing to fix it before it's too late.
I mean, I was going to say maybe the crowd, because obviously the Leicester fans generate a good atmosphere in the stadium. And I think that, a lot of the clubs that maybe have had that, Liverpool's another one that, I think they had a club, Sheffield United, they seem to be the clubs that suffered the most at home, I think, without the fans in actually. There's maybe 4 or 5 clubs that have suffered maybe more than others. The atmosphere at Arsenal's ground's never that great, so maybe we haven't suffered, although our home form's not been great. But I think obviously for Leicester, that's probably one of the big reasons perhaps that you haven't had the crowd to push you on sometimes in them tight games.
That's it. I think with the crowd, it's one of them where if you're 0-0, they push you on, innit? And when the boys need you the most, the crowd are there to push you and try and get that goal. And without that, we've missed it. And, if Leicester's still 0-0 this season, we ain't got the crowd to push us on and give us that kick up the arse and boost of energy. But I guess you miss it, don't you? But hopefully, starting from May, touch wood, we'll be back in the stadiums and pushing the boys and making them play well next season at home and forget about the home performances this season, what we've played really poor in.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. I mean, we've had the same issues. Now, go on, Melvin.
Jack, next season, will you be taking earplugs like a lot of other supporters when you go at home? Because the noise is going to be so great. Like, you haven't heard it for so long, it might, shock everybody. We all take some little earplugs so we get used to it again, because we've forgotten what it's like, haven't we? Really,
that's it.
That feeling. I mean, I can't wait to get that feeling back when the crowd gets going. Nothing like it.
It's not the same on Sky Sports, is it? With this so-called crowd noise, it's boring. You can still hear them shouting that, like, when you get to your second home, it's like going to church on a Sunday, innit? And you know what I mean? You worship that place and the football club and the ground that you step on as soon as you get there on a match day.
Yeah, of course.
When the crowds do get back in, it's going to be a right atmosphere. You're going to miss it, aren't you? But you just got to learn to get back in it again and get back in the groove.
I think the atmospheres might be actually better, Jack. I think they might even be better.
Yeah,
people
definitely.
like me, I don't shout and scream every game. I've got to be honest with you. I do. I get excited, but not like mad, right? But I think now, when I go back, I'm going to just give it everything because I'm really going to enjoy the whole thing. You know, not just the 90 minutes, get there a bit earlier and all that.
It's been a year, isn't it? It's too long.
Yeah.
Well, what I actually miss, what I've missed the most actually, isn't necessarily being in the stadium, although that's one of the things. It's more when you walk into the ground before the game and there's that anticipation and the people are in the street, the fans are in the street, and everybody, there's a buzz around, isn't there? That's the thing that I've always loved the most about going to football, actually, was that buzz before the game. You get in the ground and often the game kicks off and the game's not very good and, you may be losing excitement, but that excitement walking to the ground is the same every single game because every game you go to, you're hoping that it's going to be a good game. You're hoping that you're going to win. You're hoping that you're going to see some goals. And that anticipation, it can't be beaten. I don't think there's not another, for me, in my whole life, I've never experienced anything that comes close to that, I don't think, for the I don't know, the feeling it gives you. It's just unbelievable, really, and that's why I think that's why we keep going for that reason. Because most of the games aren't very good, are they? That's the problem. We get too often good on the season, and the rest of them you think, why did I bother? But that anticipation before, you just can't beat. I don't think that's what I've missed the most, and I can't wait to experience that again. Actually, Albert's in the chat as well. How you doing, Albert? Good.
Albert.
I know he was on another show a bit earlier as well. Gets about Albert, he does. He's been on a few channels, but then so have I.
There must be more than one Albert. You know, there's about 4 Alberts, don't you?
There must be, because he seems to pop up everywhere, doesn't he?
Everywhere.
Yeah, there must be more than one. Yeah, there's no way he could do all that on his own. It's not possible, is it? But yeah, I mean, what we'll do is we'll come back to Sunday's game in a little while. I just wanted to take a little trip down memory lane, and we like doing this every week on the show. There's some great memories, there's some great stuff. So what we'll do is we will start with this because this is always quite good as well. So obviously Arsenal and Leicester have met each other a lot of times in history, of course. In fact, Leicester were the very first ever visitors to Highbury back in 1913. So Arsenal have had quite a history with Leicester over the years. Well, obviously, I know Melvin remembers that game, the first one at Highbury, of course. He was one of the fans that day in the ground, which was exciting, I'm sure. But what other memories have you got from games against Leicester, Melvin?
Well, strangely enough, you should bring that one up, because I went to the game that commemorated 50 years at Highbury, and it was against Leicester, purposely. When we played Leicester the first time at that ground, they're called Leicester Foss.
Yeah.
And I went with my father and my uncle took me. It was in 1963, and we got beat 1-0. And the scorer was to spoil our party. It was our party. Leicester came to our party and spoiled it. Frank McClintock scored for Leicester.
Oh, he might pop up again in the show a bit later, actually.
Yeah,
he might well
could do. And then also the next year we played them, and he scored another couple. So that's probably why it was on our radar, apart from being a very good player. But one game I do remember, in 1966, we got beat by Leicester 4-2 at home. Bloody hell. A few games we lost next to them. Anyway, and what was so special, it was we had a new side. Not his first game, Colin Addison played for us. Also, George Gray made his league debut and he scored, because he used to have a habit of doing that for his clubs. And also on the tannoy, which I've never heard since, they actually said we just signed Bob McNabb. So we signed 3 players in about 2 weeks. And Arsenal very rarely do that. Well, they've never done it after that. So that was a big game. Then I go forward a few years. 1971 was the first time I ever went to Leicester City, football Filbert Street. We played in the cup. It was a 0-0 draw. And I remember that game, a bit embarrassing, really. I was sitting behind the goal. I remember that game because the Arsenal supporters was giving John Samuels a lot of stick. Don't know why. He was a good player for us. He didn't play every week, but he was a very, very good player. For some reason, they gave him a lot of stick. And the next season, I think Leicester signed him, which is a bit strange how that worked out. Anyway, then in a game, I also remember that we all remember in 1999 when Anel scored a hat-trick. I mean, he looked world class, didn't he? Bloody hell. What have we got here? Little did we know that we were going to lose him about 4 months later. I remember someone saying it, rumours at that game, I said, "Cool, what about?" Yeah, there's rumours he's going to go. I said, "No, yeah, rumours he's going to go." I didn't believe it happened. And obviously, the next year, actually, it was the same year, but a different season. Was we played Leicester first game of the season, and Henri made his debut. He came on a sub.
Yeah.
That was a 2-1 win. So, I mean, that was a big game as well. We didn't know what we were getting. We thought, he ain't going to be as good as Nelka, is he? But we'll see what he's like. And he started a little bit slowly, you know, but what a player. So, I mean, that game was, we just scraped, I think Leicester might have got a lead in that game 2-1. I'm not sure. I think they did. And we just about scraped home. Sinclair got an own goal and Bergkamp got one. But in the first game of the season, you're all happy. You got this new signing, he comes on, and he looked all right, didn't he? Just about all right. There's some of my memories I've got with Leicester, Arsenal, Leicester.
Yeah, no, some obviously great memories. They've been got memories that go back a long way. What about yourself, Jack? What games that maybe stick in your mind previously against Arsenal? Obviously, recent years, probably a few victories for you, actually. But before that, we had quite a good record against you, didn't we? Going back a bit longer.
You did, yeah. You had the Bergkamp hat trick. You've had the time when we've gone to the Emirates. I think Kramaric scored and you beat us 2-1. I've been to the Emirates all the time since Arsenal have moved there. So it seems like with Leicester we seem to score the first goal and still end up losing late on. So obviously Giroud scored, Ramsey scored. I think it was the last time when I forget what Giroud's last season was. It the first game.
4-3,
yeah, and then we had the one where Vardy scored. I think Vardy scored twice actually that game, and I think Okazaki scored, and then we still managed to lose.
Was that the 4-3?
I forget with the 4-3. Yeah, Okazaki.
Yeah, I think Vardy might have scored two similar goals. I thought.
Did Lacazette score that
Vardy
game?
running in late.
Yeah, it was Lacazette's debut. Yeah, he scored his first goal. Yeah,
Header.
His debut. Yeah.
Header.
Lacazette scored. And then I remember the season you beat us 5-2 at the King Power in the title-winning season. I was there for the game when you beat us 2-1 on Valentine's Day that same season. That Rakilla, that 96th minute, Danny Welbeck. I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's been some fond memories recently. We beat Arsene Wenger for the first time. We then beat you this season at the Emirates with Jamie Vardy scoring again. We got the draw against you last season. And Tielemans scored, I think that was last season as well, or was that the season before? Last season.
Yeah, I think it was last season, yeah, when we lost 2-0, yeah.
I think Ricardo scored the season before. Was that the Wenger game, that one, when Ricardo scored, or was that the season after?
I think that was the season after, because the one with Wenger one, it was right near the end of it, was the second from last game, and you beat us 3-1. Aubameyang scored our goal that night, and like you said, that was the first time you'd beaten us for years, actually, that game, that night.
Yeah, I think we beat you 2-0 as well, didn't we? Maddison and Vardy scored. It was the remembrance fixture. So yeah, I remember the home games well, and hopefully we can keep that up on Sunday.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we haven't had a good. We've lost our last 3 in the league actually at Leicester. In the league. So, obviously we did win in the League Cup, but that's probably slightly different. But we haven't actually won there since that 5-2. That's the last league victory that we've had. So it's not been a decent ground for us in recent years. I mean, my first trip actually to Leicester was back at Filbert Street, 1983. And it was Charlie Nicholas's. It recently joined. It was his first season. Arsenal weren't doing particularly well. We actually lost 3-0 that day, and it was a really, really bad Arsenal performance. And sometimes I look at it now and think some of the games that we play now you think are bad, but that was probably one of the worst ever Arsenal performances I can ever remember. Going to Leicester and losing 3-0 at that time. I mean, I think Leicester had just come up as well from the second division. I think you struggled that season. I think you did survive, but you struggled, and you beat us 3-0. It could have been 6-0. It was one of them sort of games, really. And then the following season, we went back there. We were actually top of the league at the time. Early in the season, it was. And I remember in at Filbert Street in the old days, there used to be a little standing section. The away fans got behind the goal in the corner, and there was a big, massive fence either side where the Leicester fans side. Yeah, and then as well along the side there was a seated section where away fans were given the seats as well. Now on this particular day, for some reason, we'd ended up going into the standing bit, and the view from that standing bit was terrible because there was a big massive fence in your way. You couldn't see anything, and there was a great little end just next to us where Arsenal fans were in the seats. My mate said to me, look, he goes, I want to get in them seats because it's no good in here. So we had a word with one of the stewards or whatever it was, or the police that were along the side. We just said, look, can we just move into the seats there? Oh, no, you can't. You're not allowed. You can't move sections. You're not allowed to change. Anyway, my mate wasn't having none of that. So when they'd moved away, he literally climbed over this fence. It was about like a 20-foot high fence it was. He climbed over and he said to me, come on, we're going into the seats. So we climbed over the fence and we got in. But obviously, the seats were full. There was no like spare seat because there was only a small section of seats. And so we were sitting in the aisles. And then during the game, I think it was in the second half, from outside the ground behind the stand. Oh, hang on, my camera's gone. Hang on. I don't know what's happened there. But hang on, I'll get my other camera set up. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, fine, Richard.
I was having this problem before with my camera. I don't know why it keeps going off. But anyway, right, that's better. Yeah, so from behind the stand, Leicester fans must have been in the street. They were throwing bricks or something over the roof of the stand into the Arsenal section. So what Arsenal fans did, they all ran on the pitch to get away from this bombardment, and the Leicester fans behind the goal weren't very happy with Arsenal fans being on the pitch, and they were trying to climb over the fence, and the game was held up for about 20 minutes while the police moved in and tried to move everyone away. And that was just it was just crazy, really. And I'll never forget that because even now I've spoke to Leicester fans who were there, and they said that they'd never seen a load of like sort of a Kappa wearing, Tashini wearing tracksuit Arsenal fans running on their pitch. And we won that game 4-1 as well, which was quite nice. And we were top of the league at the time. But I don't remember too much about the game other than all of that, trying to avoid these bricks that were coming down on us from, I don't know if there was some building work going on behind that, because that stand along the side where the seats were, it was an old stand, wasn't it? And it went straight out onto, I don't know if it was an industrial estate maybe behind it, from what I remember. But yeah, that was a fun day. And of course, probably one of the most famous games, apart from the Bergkamp hat-trick at Filbert Street, was called Ian Wright's debut when he scored in the League Cup as well for Arsenal. That was a big night. Obviously, his first game, and he scored a goal. And then, of course, the Bergkamp hat-trick. I mean, everyone remembers that. Probably one of the greatest hat-tricks in the Premier League. I'll never forget that goal he scored at the end, the third one. Fantastic goal it was. And I think that was the last minute of the game to put us 3-2 up. Thought, we've won the game. And then in like the 6 minute of stoppage time or something, I think, was it Steve Walsh scored the equaliser for Leicester?
Yeah, I think so.
Header, wasn't it? Header, yeah.
Because did Walsh have a problem with Ian Wright one of the games?
Yeah, well, I think he did a few games. I think it was that game, actually. I think that was where it maybe started from. But yeah, and he scored a last injury time equaliser, and somehow that game finished 3-3. But that was obviously a memorable one as well, because just to be there that night and to see Bergkamp score that hat-trick was just an amazing thing to witness, really. Probably the greatest hat-trick I've ever seen. And unfortunately, it's more remembered that we didn't win the game, actually, which is strange because obviously Bergkamp deserved to be on a winning team that night. But anyway, I suppose that's the way it went. But yeah, I mean, there used to be Filbert Street actually used to be quite a dodgy ground to go to for away fans, actually. I remember we was in a pub before a game one time. I think it was a night game. I think you beat us 2-1 actually, and we got there really early. We was in this pub and we were playing pool and that. There was about 3 or 4 of us, and then from about 6 o'clock, a load of Leicester fans turned up. We was quite near the ground, and I went into the toilet at one point, and you could hear all these Leicester fans there. That's what we did a few Arsenal fans around here tonight, and we're thinking, right, okay. So we went back out. I said to my mates, I think we need to go now. So we went and got in the ground a bit early because it didn't feel safe in that pub really. Once we got about after 6 o'clock and everyone turned up, but we'd had a good couple of hours playing pool in there before anyway, so that was nice. But then we lost. I'm sure we lost 2-1 actually. I think Ian Wright scored for us again that night, and Leicester came back and won. So, and I think that was the last time you beat us actually before that game, the Arsene Wenger game that you mentioned before. That's how long ago it was. With all them games that. Well, he did knock us out of the FA Cup on penalties. Actually, that's another one I remember at Filbert Street.
Yeah.
When it was 0-0, and then in the replay after extra time, we lost. I think it was 7-6 on penalties or something stupid. There was loads of penalties that night. Loads of people missed, and we ended up losing 7-6 on penalties, which was a bit annoying. that went on till about 11 o'clock at night, that penalty shootout. I'll never forget that. But yeah, so that was another kind of strange one. But yeah, we've certainly had some interesting games with Leicester over the years, and obviously I say that 5-2 at the King Power, which was a great game from our point of view. And I say the only home defeat you suffered that season, wasn't it? That 5-2.
Yeah, when Vardy scored, I thought, oh, we're going to win this game. Take the game to Arsenal. And Theo Walcott, he was just a pain in the arse. And he scored against us again because Theo Walcott seems to score against us quite a lot. He's like a villain, isn't it? And, when Walcott's playing for Arsenal, it's just like, oh, well, he's going to score this game, isn't it? And you knew what was going to happen. And did Alexis Sanchez score a hat-trick that game as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, yeah. He did, yeah.
So, yeah, we're a mad game, and then Vardy scored late on. And we weren't coming back after that. But then going to the Emirates on Valentine's Day, it was just a mad game. Obviously, Vardy scored early on for the penalty. And then Danny Simpson got 2 yellow cards in a matter of seconds due to Giroud's play of the book, shall I call it, with a referee. But, and then Walcott scored again, and then we somehow fouled Mesut Ozil, our defender, and then Danny Welbeck comes on and scores, and he went around for a long time due to injury. And
yeah, it was his first goal when he made a comeback. Yeah,
I don't know where 6 minutes come from with a referee, but I guess you got to play till the final whistle, haven't you?
I tell you, sorry.
So I was just going to say that you were moaning about that. You're moaning about that sending off of Danny Simpson. It was a bit harsh, but to be fair, Vardy did dive for that penalty in the first half, didn't he? So I suppose
it was Monreal, wasn't it, who brought him down?
That's it.
Well, he dived. It was Monreal, but he did dive.
That was a strange game, Jack. The season you nearly went down, you looked like you were dead and buried, right?
Yeah.
You played us at the Emirates. We went 2-0 up, coasting. All of a sudden, you scored. You came into it, scored a goal, and we were all sitting there going, "How's this team going down? You should have at least drawn that game.
I remember that.
You were really good." And I couldn't work it out. We couldn't believe it. You were like, "I thought they're going down this mob." You were better than us. You should have beaten us that night.
I think that season it was the case of we wasn't getting the results on the performances that we were performing at, and we did some good performances, just weren't getting the results. And I remember going to that Arsenal game that night, and you went 2-0 up, didn't you? And Kramaric scored, and then Kramaric had another opportunity not long after, and I thought, we're going to draw this, going to draw. We'll roll over Arsenal second half, and it just won't go in for us. And then I guess the tide changed when we played West Ham at home, and after that game, it all went for us, didn't it? And the luck of the draw, and we scored the goals, won the games, and stayed up that season in the Great Escape, which I thought phenomenal. And to sit there at Sunderland away, last away game of the season, to find out Hull had lost to Tottenham, it was a sigh of relief. And I just thought, how the hell have we done this for being bottom for so many times for that long? And it was just crazy. And Leicester were performing well that season. It just was performances, and then to beat Man United 5-3, coming from 3-1 down, incredible.
Yeah, I remember that. And then, of course, the season after, you won the league, didn't you?
Yeah, you were the only team to beat us home and away. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, funny enough, that game we just said there, that one obviously when Kramaric scored, Walcott scored in that game as well for Arsenal, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did seem to score quite a few against Leicester actually over the years. I hadn't really thought about that, but he scored a few times, didn't he?
I think that was the only team he scored against Leicester.
He scored a few for Arsenal, but yeah, he did seem to against you guys actually, didn't he? For some reason, which is obviously, good from our point of view. And of course, as well, another game at Highbury was the final game of our invincible season. Of course,
I remember that game.
Leicester went 1-0 up at half time as well, and we're thinking, no, we're not going to blow it on the last day, are we? Surely not. Because you got relegated that season as well. That would have been a massive shock if we'd lost our unbeaten record that day. But we came close. It was 1-0 at half time, and then of course we managed to turn it round and won the game. And obviously went on to 49 games. But that was another.
Paul Dick scored his first goal, and then I thought
he ran into the North Bank, didn't he? He scored and with a header, and he carried on running, and he was ended up in the North Bank, didn't he? Yeah. And I thought it would have been typical, wouldn't it, for an ex-Arsenal player to have scored the goal that ended our record.
Didn't Henry score that game in Vieira?
Yeah, Vieira got the winner. Yeah, Henry got a penalty. So yeah, that was quite a dramatic day as well. And obviously, a good day for us in the end. And great end to a phenomenal season, really. And unfortunately, things have gone steadily downhill for us ever since, really. But anyway, that's
we played well that season at home against you, though. We nearly beat you, innit? I think it was 0-0. We were all over you that game. We just wouldn't go in for us, and we could have been the only team to beat you that season, but it just wouldn't go in. But I remember the game.
Yeah, it was
Arsenal way on the back foot at that game. Leicester gave them a right game. I thought, oh, we could win this. And then when it went to a draw, that was like one of the best games at home against one of the big teams that season. But I
think with that team, I think what happened was, I think even when we were maybe slightly off our main game, we still had enough to be able to scramble a result. Yeah. We did get a lot of draws, and they were games that maybe we were slightly off form, and we managed to not lose. And I suppose that's what you have to do sometimes. And that was one of those games where we were maybe a bit fortunate. There was a couple through the season. That was one of them. But I say Leicester gave us a game twice, actually. Nearly beat us twice.
I know.
Imagine that would have been the only two defeats. A bit like when we beat you twice a year, you won the league. We're the only team to beat you twice. You nearly done it to us all them years ago. But anyway,
crazy.
We managed to get out of that one and win the league. That was pretty good, actually. There was some good memories actually of some games. Why don't we move on to another good section, which there's a few players to go through in this as well. So, there's been a few over the years, actually, that have played for Arsenal and Leicester. We might as well start with this guy, since we've already mentioned him a bit earlier. Melvin mentioned him before.
Oh, fantastic player.
I mean, absolute Arsenal legend. Absolute Arsenal legend. Yeah. But he was a pretty decent player for Leicester before he came to Arsenal. I don't suppose you remember him playing, do you, Jack? But you must know a bit about him.
Wait for my time, no. He was even before I was born, so...
Yeah, well, it was before I was born, actually, when he played for Leicester. It was 59 to 1964 he played for Leicester. He made 204 appearances and scored 28 goals, which is not bad at all. He then came to Arsenal 1964 to 1973. He played 403 games for Arsenal, obviously was captain for a long time, and scored 32 goals. Because he moved from midfield to defence, didn't he, Melvin?
He went from that's it. He went about 68, 9. I think he went from like right half, or whatever they used to call them, midfield to centre half with Peter Simpson, and they were a great double way. Well done, that brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And he marshalled the whole defence. He was like him and Adams are very similar. They're both great captains. They just absolutely. And he even if you didn't lightly make a mistake with him in the team. I mean, the whole team was like that. You didn't give anything up ever. And a bit, as I say, very similar parallels with Adams with both careers, the way they played the game.
No, one of our greatest ever captains. Obviously, captain of the double season in 71, and obviously 50th anniversary of that this year coming up, actually. So funny how time flies, really. There was actually a few players from that double team in 71 that ended up either going to Leicester or we got from Leicester. So there's quite a few links there. Another one is this guy here, which I know Melvin will know.
Yeah, Eddie Kelly.
He
was a very, very good right half as well. He was when he first came in the team. I think he might have been 19 or something. He was outstanding. He was unbelievable. He's like he was one of those guys that's 19. Looks like he's been playing for 10 years in the team. And he was, I think, injury put paid to him. I think he had a couple of bad injuries, Neos. I think someone said he had a stomach as well, had a bad tear. And over the years, and it never did him any good. And he went to Leicester. Like you say, a couple of others did as well. But he was very, very good. He was so calm on the ball. He was powerful. He could hit a pass. Something you would love to have in your team nowadays. Very good player. Very good. I don't think he was a Scottish international that much because I think Billy Bremner was about. But he should have played for Scotland a lot more than probably he did.
And also as well, he did score the equaliser, didn't he, in the 1971 FA Cup final as well. Well, that was given to George Graham initially. Yeah. It was Eddie Kelly that got it, wasn't it? So, an important, one of the most famous Arsenal goals as well. Also, he played for Arsenal. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, another important goal he scored was the Fairs Cup final. He got the first one.
Ah, it was. Yeah.
Very important goal, that. Because we were 2 goals, 1.5 goals behind, weren't we, with the away goal? And it was, that goal really gave us the impetus to go on and win it.
Yeah, no, he did score a few important goals for Arsenal. He played for Arsenal 1969 to 1976, 222 games for Arsenal. He actually only scored 9 goals, and 2 of them were really famous. So he didn't score too many others other than that. He joined Leicester in 1977, played for Leicester for 3 years until 1980. He actually made 119 appearances for Leicester as well and scored 3 goals. So he had a reasonably good career at Leicester as well. So that would have probably been just before the Gary Lineker kind of era, I would have thought, when he probably left just before that. Of course, another player who played in a double team who also ended up playing for Leicester.
Oh, yeah. What? Yeah, Geordie Armstrong. Wow.
Yeah, one of our...
True legend.
Yeah. Second highest appearance holder. He was the record holder until David O'Leary beat him a few years ago. But yeah, he was our record appearance holder. He actually made 621 appearances for Arsenal, 1961 to 1977, and scored 68 goals. Many of those in the double season. I think he scored about 12 goals in the double season. And then he went to Leicester actually right at the end of his career, 1977, 1978. He only played 15 games for Leicester actually, and then right at the very, very end, I think he went to America as well, didn't he, Melvin? Did he play in America?
Yeah, he went to America. And I think he went to Norway as well. He went. You know, this week was his 60th, I think it was yesterday, 60th anniversary. He's making his league debut.
Yeah, it would have been 1961. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yes, I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
He was only 17, wasn't he, I think, at the time?
That's right, very young. He never, ever stopped running. He was just up and down. He was helping out the right back, helping out the left back, up and down. And he's one of those players that, when you think about the double year, and I went to most of the games that year, you know, you're looking at the Charlie Georges, who was fantastic. You half forget about him on the basis that he was so good. Every week he gave like an 8 out of 10, and you took him for granted, which is silly, really. But he was that good. You know, oh, yeah, how do you want to figure out? But that's how good he was. It's a bit like Tierney, every week gives you an 8 out of 10, you know, and that is what he was amazing player, absolutely amazing. And I'm surprised, you know, we put a few statues up here and there. There should be one for him. I know he's got a memorial on the training ground, that's for another reason. But for what he did for Arsenal, he should definitely have a statue out there.
Of course, he was the reserve and a youth manager, wasn't he, for years and years and years as well, wasn't he? Behind the scenes, a lot of great work with a lot of young players at Arsenal. So absolute club legend. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I was just, unfortunately, I missed being able to see him play. I was just too young, unfortunately. I've seen obviously videos of him and stuff like that. I mean, he did look a great player. But yeah, another one of the double team that also has links to Leicester. And there was a player as well that obviously Melvin mentioned him a bit earlier as well.
John Samuels, yeah. He was a classy inside forward, very classy. He had a terrific shot. Didn't score a lot of goals, but he had a fantastic shot on him. I don't know how that works out, but he was very classy midfield, yeah. Very, you know, nice one touch. Very, very good player. But he wasn't what I call never present in the team, especially the double year. He was like, I don't know the statistics, he probably might have played 60% of the games, 50% of the games, but he was very good.
Oddly enough, his career record, he played for Arsenal from 1962 to 1971. He played 270 games for Arsenal, scored 52 goals. So he didn't have a bad goal scoring record.
No, not bad. No, better than I thought.
Yeah, pretty good. He then joined Leicester in 1971. He was at Leicester until 1978. He actually played 265 games for Leicester, so virtually the same amount of games for Leicester as well. His goal scoring dropped down. He only scored 25 goals for Leicester. I don't know whether he played more of a defensive role, maybe more so at Leicester. Do you know much about him, Jack?
No, I'm waiting for my time, some of these.
Yeah, there's a few more recent ones on the list as well, actually.
I hope so.
There is definitely is it that you will know. I'll tell you what, here's one that you will know. He's actually, I've got a picture of him in a Leicester kit as well.
Matthew Upson.
Yeah.
Former West Ham player as well.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He was on loan at Leicester in the Great Escape season.
Yeah, he actually only made 6 appearances for Leicester, so you've done well to remember him, actually, because he didn't play very often.
He scored an own goal at Goodison Park.
Did he?
Away at Everton. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, that's probably why you remember him then. He actually made, surprisingly enough, I was surprised by this, he actually made 57 appearances for Arsenal, and I can't really remember him playing as many as that, but he did between 1997 and 2003, and then he did go to Leicester obviously much later in his career. like you said, he'd been at West Ham as well, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah.
He played for a few clubs actually, didn't he? He travelled around quite a bit.
I think he played Brighton as well.
I think he might have done, yeah. He certainly travelled around a bit.
He looked promising when he joined us from, I think, Luton we bought him from.
Luton, yeah,
I think he had a bad injury, Richard. I think he had an injury and that slowed him up a little bit. Never quite got his speed back. But he was a decent enough player, but I think he was a little bit unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, I think he was. I was surprised he'd played as many as 57 games because he did go out on loan quite a lot when he was at Arsenal, actually. Probably after his injuries, he did go out on loan a few times, but never really quite made it, did he? In the end, probably anywhere. Probably West Ham is probably most famous. He's most famous for, isn't he? Being at West Ham. Another player, of course, who I believe played briefly on loan as well for Leicester before he really hit the big time at Arsenal.
Oh yes, KC.
Yeah. Kevin Campbell, fantastic player for Arsenal, obviously, over a number of years. But he did, in 1989, he played 11 games on loan for Leicester and scored 5 goals. So he did pretty well at Leicester. That was just before he really got established in the Arsenal first team. He ended up playing 274 games for Arsenal, scored 60 goals before moving on and playing for Nottingham Forest, Everton, and a few other, West Brom as well. Always highly thought of at every club he played at, as far as the fans always loved him. Yeah, I think he must have been a bit before your time, was he, Jack, as well, at Leicester?
Yeah, but I've read quite a lot about Kevin Campbell, his Arsenal career and that, so I do keep updated with other teams. So I've read quite a lot about him in his time at Leicester as well, when growing up. So
yeah, so he obviously did well for Leicester. 5 goals, 11 games is pretty good. He would only have been a teenager probably then as well. So
that's it.
He certainly done well. Here's one a bit more up to date. Does anybody know who this is? He's not that well known, certainly not Arsenal.
Is that Kerry Gilbert, is it?
It is, yeah.
Kerry Gilbert were on loan at Leicester, yeah. I remember him.
Was he a fullback?
He was a fullback, yeah.
Yeah.
Right back, I think he played for his right-hand side.
Yeah. He actually played 39 games for Leicester between 2008 and 2009 and scored 1 goal. So he didn't do bad in a year there.
I think we had him on loan at Arsenal in the League One season.
Possibly he might have been on loan, yeah. He only played 12 games for Arsenal in his career. He was at Arsenal for 5 years, actually, 2005 to 2010. So it would have been on loan, yeah, because it was during his time at Arsenal. He seemed to do all right at Leicester. I don't know what happened to him, actually. Do you know where he went after Leicester then?
Nope.
Because I think he came back to Arsenal, but I don't know where he went after that. I kind of lost track of his career, actually. He's one that maybe we need to look at a bit more, find out what happened to him, because he never quite made it. Most of his 12 appearances for Arsenal were League Cup games and stuff like that. He never really made much in the Premier League. I think 2 appearances maybe in the Premier League. So, but he seemed to do quite well at Leicester anyway. I mean, you remembered him, so he must have made some sort of impression on you if you remember him. Which is always good. Who else? There's another one where he's popped up a few times on our show recently. Some of the former clubs he's played for. He played a lot more. Well, he played a few more games for Leicester than he did for Arsenal. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
He played for Leicester in 2005, 2006 on loan. Made 19 appearances for Leicester and scored 1 goal. He only made 6 appearances for Arsenal in 3 years when he came through Arsenal's academy. Do you know who that is, Melvin? We've had him on before.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but I think this is the one I might have seen on trial. This kid.
I've seen the face of him on the pitch. Yeah,
is it Ryan Smith or something?
Ryan Smith, yeah.
That's it, yeah, Smith.
Yeah, Ryan Smith.
I saw him at a trophy Arsenal.
I remember him now.
Okay. Yeah, he was on loan at Leicester in 2005. He played 19 times and scored 1 goal, and only made 6 appearances for Arsenal, and I think most of them, or in fact all of them, I think were in the League Cup.
We're in the Championship when we had him.
Were you?
Yeah, Championship in 2005 and 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was probably about his level, maybe, because he wasn't quite good enough to play.
When he was coming through the ranks, Richard, he was highly rated when he was coming through the ranks. Funnily enough, seriously,
was he?
Very highly rated, yeah.
Do you know where he ended up then, Melvin? After obviously he went on loan to Leicester.
I know he went to Leicester. No, I can't think. I don't think I ever knew actually.
He's another one that I lost track of actually a little bit. Really, what happened to his career? And someone else who we did mention earlier as well. He did score that famous goal at the Emirates.
Paul Dickov.
Yeah. And he had a decent spell at Leicester, didn't he?
Paul Dickov. I remember him.
Yeah,
era great player to watch, Paul Dickov. The goals that he scored as well. I think we signed him from Manchester City. Great player. He'll always go down as one of Leicester's good players. And then he left us for, I'm not sure who he left us for. I'm not sure if it was Blackburn or somewhere. But then he came back to us in the League One season after he'd had his disc replaced. But he was never the same player then. But he'll always go down as one of Leicester's greats.
Yeah, no, he had definitely a decent record. He made 97 appearances for Leicester, scored 37 goals, which is not too bad at all, including, I say, that one at Highbury, of course, the last game of the season, which nearly proved crucial for us. He only actually played 26 games for Arsenal. I know he came up the other week as well. 26 games for Arsenal, scored 7 goals.
Did you guys sell him to Man City?
Yeah, he went to Manchester City for us.
Man City, yeah.
And he done well at Man City as well, didn't he? He seemed to have a decent career, actually, wherever he played. He didn't quite make it with Arsenal, but then he was there with Ian Wright and Kevin Campbell and guys like that, so he never really got many opportunities. Most of his appearances were off the bench, and he did score 7 goals for Arsenal. And yeah,
I think he scored 2 in one game, Richard, didn't he? I think he scored 2 against Southampton at Highbury, I think.
I think it might have been Sheffield Wednesday. I think it was Sheffield Wednesday.
Was it?
Might have been. I think it might have been. But I don't know, it might have been. I do remember him scoring. So was that not a League Cup game, maybe?
No, a league game.
Was it a league game? Yeah, I do remember him scoring 2 goals, yeah. I mean, I thought he was a decent enough player. He just never really was quite good enough to get in our team at the time. And obviously, like you said, he went to Leicester, did really well. He did well at Man City. We spoke to a Man City guy last week, actually. He was singing his praises as well. So he seemed like he made a good impression everywhere he went, actually. Just he didn't quite make it. So I did meet him once as well, which was nice. Nice guy as well. Typical kind of fiery Scot, I thought, the way he played as well.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't take no prisoners, did he? Which is nice to see when he plays for your team. You're quite happy about that. Maybe not when he's playing against you. But yeah, obviously a good player. Another one actually that Melvin will probably remember seeing play. I don't think he did that well at Arsenal, did he? But I think he was a decent player for Leicester back in the day.
Jeff Blockley.
Yeah, nice hair actually. He's got nice hair.
The syrup.
Yeah.
We signed him from Coventry, and he was, I don't know, not that old. He was like 19, 20, that might be 21 even. And because I think he was playing for the under 23s, England, and they said he is the next England centre half for years. And we sold Frank McClintock and bought him. I think it was in '72. We did 72. It, and he never ever produced. So it's just one of those things. Sometimes you go to a club and you just doesn't work out for you. You know, I remember he played just before we signed him. He played away at Coventry, played away at Spurs. And a couple of friends of mine at Spurs sport going, God, that's centre half you're buying. He's unbelievable. He really is unbelievable. Like, he held that team together, but he came to us, and then all of a sudden it just didn't work out for him. Didn't work out. Didn't work out for him at all. He weren't with us long, was he? A couple of years, 2-3 years?
He's Arsenal 72 to 75. He played 62 games, scored 1 goal, and then he went to Leicester directly from Arsenal in 1975. He played 3 seasons at Leicester till 1978. Made 76 appearances for them, scored 2 goals. I think he got a bad injury when he played for Leicester, actually, which pretty much ended his career, I think. So, yeah, unfortunately. But, yeah, he didn't quite work. Oh, maybe replacing Frank McClintock was never going to be easy for anybody, was it? Maybe the pressure of that might have
could be. Yeah.
Possible form, you know, because coming in and replacing a player like that is going to be difficult, isn't it? And another player who is maybe a bit similar to George Armstrong in a sense, played a lot of games for Arsenal before having a few at Leicester at the end of his career.
I don't remember him playing for Leicester.
Yeah. His last season of his career, he saw it.
Was it? Oh, right.
Do you remember about Leicester, Jack?
Is that Keown?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Martin Keown.
What did you think of him at Leicester? He played 18 games.
It wasn't bad for us. He wasn't the worst player in the world. I guess, you know, coming to the end of his career, you know, it was always going to be difficult for him to get a lot of game time. And obviously, in them 18 games, I don't think he did too badly. But he were a well-known footballer, though, wasn't he, Martin Keown, with obviously winning the titles with Arsenal and.
Yeah.
being a part of the Invincible team as well, because I think you guys dropped him as well, didn't you, to the bench after quite a while. I think he came on. Did he come on at the Highbury game, last game of the season? Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
He needed to come on to get a title medal due to the appearances that he'd made. So Arsene Wenger made him wait to the last minute and then brought him on, so he got his title medal. And then he left Arsenal that year and actually joined Leicester for the following season after he got relegated. Yeah, so he actually played for Arsenal. He had 2 spells at Arsenal, 84 to 86 and then 92 to 2004. He played 449 games, scored 8 goals. So he didn't score many, but he was a solid defender. Obviously won a lot of trophies with Arsenal, with a double in 98, a double in 2002. Obviously the Invincible season he won the league as well. So he won the FA Cup as well. So yeah, I mean, he had a great career at Arsenal, and I think he played for Reading as well, just at the end of his career, as well as Leicester. I think he maybe played a season at Leicester or maybe 3/4 of a season, and then moved to Reading and played for them before his career ended. So yeah, obviously a great player again in his career for Arsenal. There is a couple of ones that maybe black and white pictures, let's say, that have. This guy's been on before, Melvin. You might remember him. Do you know who he is?
Oh, I recognise his face. I can't go. No, don't recognise him. I recognise the face, but I couldn't remember his name.
He's actually very, very famous. He scored a very famous goal for Arsenal in Arsenal's history.
Was it the first something or other?
Yeah, it was the very first goal at Highbury, which was actually against Leicester.
That's it.
It's the first Arsenal goal at Highbury. It was. His name's George Joby, and he played 28. He played 28 games for Arsenal, and then after the First World War, he actually did go to Leicester. I don't know how many games he played for Leicester because there's no records of it anywhere. But he did play for one season for Leicester, 1918 to 1919, so just over 100 years ago. But obviously, he's most famous for scoring that goal at Highbury, and he got injured later on in that game as well, and had to get carried off the pitch before there was any changing rooms ready. So that was quite fun. And also, as well, another player that's got a famous record as well for Arsenal. Does anybody know who that is? I don't suppose you will.
Bloody hell!
Any ideas?
He was the guy that used to score the goal. He wasn't up front. He used to score a goal by using a telescope.
He looks like it, doesn't
Yeah.
Maybe he did. He did score a few goals, but I'm not sure if he used a telescope and so on.
No, I got no
idea. But anyway, his name was Harry King, and what he's famous for is he scored the first ever hat-trick at Highbury in 1914. And he played one season at Arsenal, 1914 to 1915. He scored 26 goals in 37 games. So really good goal scorer back in the day.
Not too shabby.
And he was another one who, after the First World War, he then went to Leicester as well in 1919. But he only played 8 games for Leicester and scored 1 goal. So he didn't quite have as much success at Leicester as he had that season he had at Arsenal. He had the first ever hat-trick at Highbury. I think it was against Notts County. So obviously he's famous in Arsenal's history for that reason, really. Not that he did a lot else that I can find. Anyway, there's a couple more left, actually. I'm saving one till last because it's just appropriate. This guy as well, he seems to pop up every week because he must have played for every single team in the Premier League, this guy. Do you know who Jack?
Is that the Preston goalkeeper who used to play? It's not Andy Longan, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's the one who played for Villa. Didn't he went to Villa?
Yeah. He's played for everyone. Southampton, Leicester, Man City, Everton. I think he's played for everyone pretty much.
But he hasn't played that many first team games, has he?
No, in his whole career he's played less than 100 games, yeah. I think he's a goalkeeping coach now at Southampton, I think.
His name will come to me. I've seen his face, I've seen him play. I just can't think of his name, it's been so long.
He was another one who was on loan at Leicester in 2004, 2005. You seem to get a lot of our players on loan that season, actually, for some reason or another.
Who is it?
It's Stuart Taylor.
Stuart Taylor.
Yeah, he played 10 games for Manchester City for Leicester, in that season, 2004-2005, and he actually played 30 games in total for Arsenal over 8 years that he was at Arsenal. He only played 30 times, a lot of them in the League Cup and in European group games and stuff like that. But yeah, he never really. I think he made less than 100 appearances in his whole professional career for 20 years. So he always seemed to be a backup goalkeeper somewhere. Who would have been your goalkeeper in 2004, 2005? Then your main goalkeeper?
Was it the American goalkeeper? We had an American one, didn't you?
Casey Keller.
Casey
Or the one that
Keller.
went to Spurs.
Before that. He was
Yeah,
before
Mate,
that.
Are you on about Casey Keller? That
Yeah.
was I think that was before then. I think it Ian Walker.
Walker, the Spurs one.
Yeah, I remember Ian Walker actually. Yeah.
Ian Walker. He played in the game. I think he played in the game at the Highbury game. So
He did actually. Yeah, I think he did.
Ian Walker. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was a not a bad goalkeeper actually. He had a decent career.
Or it might have been Paul Henderson. I'm not sure. Or Conrad Logan.
Oh well, there you go. I've not heard of
Wasn't
Conrad
Peter
Logan.
Shilton, was it? Wasn't Peter Shilton, was it?
One of England's greats.
He did play for Leicester, didn't he? He did play for Leicester in his
He
career.
did, yeah.
Of course he did. So did Gordon Banks.
We had both of the great goalkeepers.
Yeah,
but
both the best goalkeepers going.
I think with them, with the competitive side of it, you had two great goalkeepers at the same club, and you know who do you play? And I think Gordon Banks then went to Stoke, didn't he, from Leicester?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then Shilton took over at Leicester.
Yeah, and then I think Shilton went to Stoke as well, didn't he?
I think so, yeah, because he played for
He went to
Forest
Forest
as well,
first.
didn't he?
Yeah,
Forest.
No, I think he went to Stoke first and then Forest, didn't he?
No, I don't think so.
He played for Forest and won the. Did he win the Champions League with it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he won the first division. He won the European
Cup.
Cup. He won the League Cup a few times. Obviously, a great goalkeeper, Peter Shilton. And
Fantastic.
Oh, terrific. Great.
yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah, and I say he played, I think, over 1,000 league appearances, didn't he, in his career in the end?
Madness.
Quite an achievement, really, for anyone. Another player that I remember playing for Arsenal, not with particular affection, but he did have a decent career at Leicester a bit later on. Does anyone know who that is?
That's Colin Hill.
It is Colin Hill, yeah. Yeah,
He was an Irish right back, wasn't he, or something? Irish right back. I think he played right back for us anyway.
Well, he played centre back for a season and a bit as well, and didn't really cover himself in a lot of glory. He actually played 51 games for Arsenal and scored one goal, which was against Sunderland, which I remember because we were top of the league at the time. And he played centre back with Tommy Caton actually back then.
Right.
He wasn't particularly good in the end, but he played for Arsenal 81 to 1986, and then he actually played for Leicester between 1992 and 1997. He actually spent quite a few years at Leicester, made 145 appearances, so he probably did okay with Leicester. Did you know much about him, Jack, at Leicester?
No, we're just before my time. My dad would know quite a lot about these players who you've shown, so who's played for Leicester.
He's taking a mickey now. Get him off. He was like 1960s. He was my dad when he was born, so he'd know quite a lot of players who you mentioned.
Yeah, no,
I guess you hear the stories about these players when you grow up as a young boy from your dad and your uncles, and you know they talk about these people, but it's the history you learn about your club, innit? And obviously, them players were a part of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've got one more. I don't know if there's any more I've missed out, but I've got one more. And I wanted to finish with this guy just because I think he's probably the one player out of the list that you can probably say was a legend at both clubs, actually. Again, a bit before your time, probably, Jack, unfortunately. But you know about him.
Alan Smith.
Alan Smith.
Yeah.
He played with Gary Lineker at Leicester.
Yeah.
That was the Lineker era. Yep, I remember.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And obviously he was one of Arsenal's greatest players as well, I think. Fantastic he was. He won a lot of trophies for Arsenal, including, of course, as Melvin knows, he scored that goal, didn't he, Melvin, to win that cup?
I don't remember that, Richard. What was the fun with that?
So, obviously he scored another important goal as well, didn't he?
You know what he did, though? I don't know if you probably remember, Richard. I don't know if Jack knows. We signed him, right? During the season. It was George Graham's first big signing. Yeah. He was an Arsenal player, registered for the next season, though, and he played against us that season while he was an Arsenal player, as such. Yeah,
no, he was on loan. We bought him and loaned him to Leicester, didn't we, until the end to try to keep them up, and unfortunately they went down. And then he came to Arsenal. But between 1982 and 1987, he played 217 games for Leicester, scored 84 goals. So he had a decent career at Leicester. Obviously, as you said before, Jack, a lot of them games were alongside Gary Lineker. They obviously were a good partnership together, weren't they?
Yeah. English partnership as well. So
yeah, they were both scoring 20 goals every season. Both of them were. And obviously, in the end, he did come to Arsenal 1987 until he retired in 95. So he only actually played for the two clubs his whole career. He played 347 games for Arsenal, scored 115 goals, won 2 Golden Boots as well, and 2 league titles, that Cup Winners' Cup, the FA Cup, a League Cup. He won pretty much everything. And I don't know if you've read his book, his autobiography, really, really good book as well. Obviously, he's an intelligent guy. He didn't have a ghostwriter write him. He wrote it himself. And really, really good book. Really good stories about his time at Leicester as well. Obviously, a lot of Gary Lineker in there as well, and stuff like that. So it's a really good book actually, and recommend that definitely. But yeah, I think he's I would say he's a legend at both clubs actually.
Definitely.
But we love him. Loved him at Arsenal.
You mentioned his goal scoring ability, Richard. But how many goals did he make? He used to hold that ball up, flick it on, and it was I mean, he made the goal that won it at Liverpool, didn't he? The famous goal with Thomas. But he did so much else, running off the ball, taking defenders with him. He was just not just a goal scorer. He was a very clever forward, very clever.
Nice he was. I mean, he was a great team player, wasn't he? And he was pivotal actually to that George Graham side. The way that we played in them days, he was really crucial, wasn't he, to the hold-up play, like you said. His touch on the ball was great. His movement was great, and he was great in the air as well. He got a lot of headed goals, didn't he? He was really good in the air, and fantastic player. You can see why he would have linked well with Lineker actually, because Lineker had a bit more pace and could feed off him probably. That's probably why Lineker scored so many goals, because Lineker wasn't a very good player, was he? Let's be honest. He just knew how to score goals.
I think he went to Everton, Lineker did, didn't he, after Leicester?
Yeah.
Played for Everton, And then he was an English player, didn't he, where he needed a poo and he'd wiped it on the grass. So that was his kind of like memorable time in an England shirt.
In the World Cup, yeah, that was right. It was, and he obviously had a season for Everton before he went to Barcelona, didn't he? In the end, and then, of course, obviously Leicester lost Gary Lineker, and then a couple of years later lost Alan Smith as well. So I don't know how you survived that, really, losing 2 goal scorers like that out of your team quite quickly.
Definitely.
But that's probably why.
Very clinical though up front, the pair of them when they were together.
Yeah, no, they were. Well, I say he mentions it in his book quite a lot about the relationship that they had on the pitch, if not necessarily so much off the pitch. I don't think they didn't get on particularly well. I don't think, but they obviously had a good relationship on the pitch at the time, which was good. And so absolute legend. I don't know if there's anybody can think of that played for both clubs that we haven't mentioned.
I think you've covered it.
Yeah. Obviously, Jamie Vardy should have been on that list as well, shouldn't he? But,
you wish.
He decided not to join the list. He had the opportunity to join the list and he chose not to, but he would have been featured tonight. So if you're watching, Jamie, you missed out on being on this show tonight, bud. As well as for Arsenal, of course. But yeah, maybe one day you might. But it's a bit late now, probably. I think you missed the chance. But I'll still probably take him actually now. But anyway, that's another story. What we'll do now, so we'll move back to obviously to Sunday's game now then, and look ahead and look at. I think it's going to be quite interesting. We both played Europa League game in the week. We had a lot of travelling, so I'm assuming we're going to make a lot of changes to our side. Obviously, Leicester made a lot of changes during the week for the Europa League game that they, for whatever reason, may be looking to this game. So I am expecting there to be quite a few changes. What are you thinking, Melvin, in terms of our starting lineup on Sunday? Do you think he's going to go all out or maybe change 10 of them? Or
I don't think he'll make a lot of changes, to be honest with you. I can't see where it's going to come. Where's he going to come? I mean, the defence is probably the same. He might give Bella in a rest or drop him, whatever you want to say. Either way, it makes sense. The other 2 centre halves will start. I can't see him putting Mari in. Midfield, Ceballos will start, even though the game last night wasn't probably his best. And Xhaka, obviously, is the first name on the sheet. Up front, Aubameyang's got to start. Saka's got to start. I think Odegaard to start. And I think it could be Pepe instead of who was the one up front at the start of the other last night.
Smith Rowe.
Smith Rowe will have the rest, and I think Pepe are coming. That's what I think the team will be.
You don't think Thomas
But
Partey?
Good point. Sorry. Yes, that was a big plus last night. Him getting a few minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
Tobias will not start. Sorry. Well played, and Partey will play. But as we know, you can never guess an Arteta team. It's harder than mastermind.
Yeah, you can't obviously guess it. I mean, I think he might be forced into making more changes than that just because tired legs. You know, Saka's played so many games. He looked tired in the second half yesterday. He did end up contributing the assist at the end, but I don't know. He's going to have to rest him at some point, I feel. Odegaard as well is looking. He's played a lot of games in a short time and he hadn't played much before. I'm expecting Thomas Partey to come in. I mean, what are you thinking for the Leicester team, Jack? Obviously, Maddison's out, isn't he? Which is good news for us. Maybe not so much for you.
No, it'd be a massive miss with his creativity in that. But Billy likes of Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Evans, Castagna, maybe either Luke Thomas or Fuchs at left back. It'd be Ricardo, Tielemans, Ndidi, Harvey Barnes. I think it'll either be Schengen's under will probably play because Perez is out as well. So, and then the main man Jamie Vardy up front.
No, he's not allowed to play. He's not allowed to play against us because he scores too many goals. So he's going to have to be. He's going to have to get injured. Someone going to have to kick him in training tomorrow or something because we can't have him play. It's not fair. It's not fair to let him play against us because he always scores. I mean, you know that what you've just named there is a decent team, isn't it? You know, Leicester are third in the league for a reason because you've got good players, and you just went through your team there, and that's a good Leicester team, isn't it? To be fair, you know, you've got decent defenders. You know, you've got great players in midfield. Tielemans is brilliant, isn't he? Indeed, he does a great job in there, the destroyer, if you like. And you've got obviously Harvey Barnes. I mean, there was a question in the chat before actually about Harvey Barnes. I can't remember what it is now. About playing for England, Barnes and Maddison. Here we go. Should Barnes and Maddison be in the England squad? Well, I personally think they should, because I think, you know, Harvey Barnes. I mean, what a great season he's having, isn't he? Well, I know he's still only a young player as well, isn't he? This has been his breakthrough year. I mean, he's been brilliant, hasn't he? Where do you think that's come from? Because last year he was a bit inconsistent, wasn't he? Is it just because he's just matured a bit?
I think it's down to Brendan Rodgers. He likes to get the best out of younger players, and he's made Barnes believe in his own abilities. We brought him back off loan from West Brom. Brendan Rodgers played him straight away, and he's got game time under Brendan Rodgers in the Premier League. And I think you need that under your belt as a player who's never played in the Premier League, and he's done that. Last season, he was assisting rather than scoring. He'd missed the simplest of chances. Like the one when we drew 2-2 with Chelsea at the King Power. Really, he should have put that to bed against Caballero from there, one-on-one. But Barnes this season seems more mature, more stronger, and more bite about him. And he's got the desire to know where he wants to go. And obviously England is his, well, you could say it's his choice, really. And it's a boyhood dream for him to play in an England shirt, and it'd be good for him. And obviously, you know, he's come on well as a player. And he's just been incredible this season because obviously people think we're a one-man team, but obviously players are like Barnes and Maddison and that have proved different to that, and the critics wrong. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I've been really, really impressed with Harvey Barnes. Every week you're seeing him and he seems to be getting better and better, having more and more influence, and he's just scoring goals for fun at the minute, isn't he? Really in great form. And like you said, maybe that's perhaps taking a little bit of pressure off Jamie Vardy and taking a little bit of pressure off some of the other players because he's performing on a regular basis. I mean, I look at him and then, you know, obviously we've got Bukayo Saka as well, young English player playing in a similar kind of role maybe in the team as well, playing well every week. And you've got to think to yourself, those two guys in that England team would be amazing, but I just can't see Gareth Southgate doing it. I don't think he's not got the... I don't think he's brave enough to go with a team like that. Maddison as well, Grealish. These are the players that should be playing for England. Exactly. And we could actually go somewhere. But I just can't see him doing it, unfortunately.
I think
he hasn't got imagination, Richard. Southgate has not got the imagination. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that's what it is.
Southgate's just mad. Like, he always goes for players what's not performing at certain clubs. Like, if you look at the Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, he's picking players who don't really deserve to play for the club. If you're looking at Grealish, Maddison, Barnes, Bukayo Saka, Smith Rowe as well, you know, they're good English talent, and that's what we like to see is English fans, our players progressing and getting better each game. And you know, they're a treat to watch, aren't they? Bukayo Saka is a neutral fan. I've watched him quite a lot of times, and I just think he's fantastic. And I think if you can get that in the England squad, they're only going to keep getting better each year because they're still young and they've still got quite a lot of years ahead of them. And a few World Cups, European Championships, they could be taking England places. But Gareth Southgate's just got to give them the opportunity to pick the right players who's actually wanted to perform to the levels rather than players who's not.
Exactly. I mean, I actually think that at the moment, we've probably got some of the best group of young English players that we've had for a long, long time. And if we had a coach in there who actually who would select them and knew how to get the best out of them, we could really go places in the next couple of tournaments because, you know, he needs to get rid of some of the old guys, like you said, that haven't been performing and players that just aren't really contributing in the same way. We've got so many great young players now that are playing in the Premier League regularly. I say obviously Harvey Barnes, Saka, as we've said, you know, Grealish now has really come onto his own in the last couple of seasons, and there's just so many of them. And I just think that should be the future of this team. He's got to go. It might take a year or two to really produce a team that's going to win a World Cup or something, but why not use that time wisely instead of going with a lot of these more experienced players in these tournaments, which that cost us that World Cup the other year, didn't it? By
the greediness of Harry Kane.
Yeah, and just picking the wrong players, I felt. He went with the experienced players that have never performed for us at a tournament.
He didn't play Vardy either. You know, Vardy only came on when Kieran Trippier come off injured. So I'm just like, hold on a minute, why is Vardy not getting the opportunities? But he just looks at these so-called big six, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just biased towards teams who's got the players who actually want to achieve things and actually want to go somewhere. And England's obviously their dream in it to play, and obviously they're performing to the standards, but not getting the recognition and the credit they deserve for their performances. They're performing week in, week out.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, every week you see on Match of the Day or whatever it is, and you see Gareth Southgate sitting in the stands watching. You might be watching Aston Villa, or he'll be watching Leicester, or he'll be watching Arsenal, and yet when it comes to picking the squad, he doesn't pick any of them players very often. And you're thinking, why did you bother coming watching them then? Doesn't make sense.
I think he only chooses Mason Mount at Chelsea.
Yeah,
I can't believe he sits there. Oh, he's got a mask on now, but before that, he looked so miserable. It's like he hates what he's doing. I've never seen a guy watch a football match with such a long face. And it can't be because his team's getting beat, because he's there as a neutral. He really looks like he doesn't. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look like he enjoys himself, does he? I still think it's that penalty miss that's just affected his life. Actually, I think that's what it is.
I went to that game.
The Germany game, did you? Wow, what an atmosphere there was that night. That was one of the greatest tournaments ever, I think. Euro '96.
Yeah,
so we didn't win it, but anyway. Shane's got a question for you there, Jack. He said, "Who's responsible for recruiting players at Leicester? Because obviously they need a pay rise because they've done a great job."
I'm not sure who the recruitment is, but it's just whoever Brendan Rodgers is. John Rukin's the what shall I say, recruitment. So he sends his scouts over to like different places to like do. And we've got a head scout. But I think we're picking the right players who's never even been heard of. If you look at Fofana, you know, Castagna, James Maddison at that point. If you're looking at the likes of Ricardo and people like that, they're players you've never even heard of, and look how good they have turned out. If you look at Ndidi, you won't think he'd be one of the best centre defensive midfielders in Europe today. And, you know, it's all down to the recruitment and the procedure. You just got to bide your time. We're not one of them clubs who's going to spend £100 million on just on one player, like Chelsea did with Kai Havertz at £90 million. It's a waste of money. You've got to sit there, get the blueprint out and find out which players you want for each position, the right positions, not fill a position just because someone's injured or So I just
Well,
think Leicester's procedure, it's about taking step by step and working from that, and the blueprints worked out, and we've found some right hidden gems, and they've become noticed on the performances they've been putting on the field for Leicester.
I know. Yeah, I mean, Leicester for me is almost a blueprint of how to run a football club in this modern times, you know, because obviously Manchester City and Chelsea have just got a rich owner who'll invest and invest and invest. And
just money.
Yeah, and you can obviously get success by doing that because you can buy good players, and eventually you're going to get a good team and be able to have success. But I just get the feeling with Leicester, it's a lot more. It's a sustainable model because you're buying players cheap, you're selling them on later on at a higher price, and then doing the same again constantly. Like you said, some of them players that you've got in your squad now, you know, bigger clubs than Leicester could have bought them probably, but they didn't want to buy them because they wasn't big names. And Leicester took that chance because they could maybe either see the potential in them, or they just thought, well, why not? It's cheap enough. We can see if we can develop them. And it's worked because you've constantly done this over a number of years. And, you know, you've won the Premier League more recently than we have. So clearly it's worked. And you're in a much better position than we are currently as well over the last couple of years. You've been growing and progressing as a club. And, you know, it's not just Arsenal. I think you've started to overtake some of the traditional big six clubs, haven't you, over the last couple of years? And that's literally down to the way the clubs run. And to me, Leicester are the blueprint for having success in modern football without having to, like you said, without spending 100 million on a player or 80 million on a player. You know, doing it the right way. And I've got a lot of respect for the way that Leicester have done it, actually, because it's almost like, I almost see that's how Arsenal have dreamt it to be, but they just they haven't done it in the right way.
Are? Leicester, in my opinion, are the English Ajax. They've got a Ajax have got a fantastic model. You know, they seem to produce these players year on year out, sell them, and next season they still got a more than decent team. Leicester's exactly the same. They've got their way of doing it, and that is the self-fulfilling model that we all, as you see, dream of. And it hasn't happened. Who would have thought when Paul Dickoff scored that goal and we beat Leicester 2-1 that going forward they were out the two teams, which one's going to win the league next? You'd have said, "Don't be silly," right? And going forward, which club will have the most amazing squad that's hardly cost them anything, and the other one will have a crap squad? With all due respect, the last couple of years our squad has been very poor. You'd have gone with Leicester in it. It's got to be Leicester in it. But no, it's completely turned on its head. No one could have foreseen that. We were so far ahead of Leicester then, weren't we, Jack, in all seriousness? Far ahead of Leicester then. As a club, as a football team, everything. And now it's gone the other way.
I think with Leicester, if you've looked at it over the years, obviously Vishai Sribhadapapa brought the club, and he made a plan, and he wanted to be where he wanted to be. Vishai had a dream to build a football team, and he said he wanted to make Leicester a top 6 Premier League side. And look where we are. We've won the title we've made Champions League. We've been in the Europa League now. We seem to be in the top 6 nearly every season, and it's just with Brendan Rodgers and that now, he knows the players he wants, and we've got great ownership who knows when to spend the money at the right times. We're not just wasting money for the sake of it. And Vishai made that clear that he wanted to build a really world-class side, and he's made the dream a reality for not just Leicester fans, but he's made smaller teams in the lower divisions believe that, we can be like Leicester. Why not? You know what I mean? Anyone can be like us. We just need to look into the future and keep dreaming. And if you keep dreaming, it'll become a reality one day for a smaller team who's there, who wants to be
If Netflix would have made a film of Leicester winning the league, nearly going down by the last game of the season, one season, win the league the next, made a film out of it, everyone say, what a lot of rubbish this film is. How can we believe that? And yet it really happened.
I mean, Leicester in a way are kind of a modern day Wimbledon, aren't they? Maybe a smaller club that's had a lot of success built on a model that's worked for them. But I obviously on a bigger scale, because Leicester are always a bigger club than Wimbledon. But in the same sense that Wimbledon were finishing in the top 6, weren't they? They won the FA Cup, and for a smaller club they had a lot of success. And Leicester have kind of become the modern version of that in a way, just a lot better run, and obviously able to sustain it because of the size of the club and the fan base and everything else that obviously Wimbledon didn't have. There's a question here actually from Gareth. He's a Newcastle fan, and he wanted to know your thoughts on Jose Perez, because of course that's where he came from, didn't he? To you, he says looking at a good bit of business for Newcastle, because he's not really quite hit the heights, has he, for Leicester?
No, he's not. He comes under a lot of criticism, Perez, but where's his natural position? Brendan Rodgers plays him on the wing. Is he a striker? We don't know where Jose Perez does. He play behind Vardy? We've not really found that out of him, and we played him in all different positions. We're not really sure where we're playing him in. With Newcastle, I think they played him as a winger, didn't they? And he scored quite a few goals for Newcastle, and £30 million from Newcastle is good money for them. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but he does try at times. He just gets under a lot of criticism, and I guess every player does, but you're only trying your best at the end of the day. But obviously some people think you're not trying hard enough, and every player gets the criticism. Maybe they deserve it, maybe they don't, but not like how some fans call the players and that. Come on, they go over the top. But you've got to support the club and the players. Do you get what I mean? You've got to give them the confidence that they need, and booing them and slating them on Twitter, that's just going to knock their confidence and think, well, why the hell do I want to be at this club if the fan base is so toxic? So
that's right,
yeah, it's just crazy. And going on that point where he was on about the building the teams and that, I think if Leicester's made fans in other teams believe that if you dream, it will somehow come a reality if your club is well run. And I think with Arsenal, with Kroenke, he don't want to give you the money. He's like tight as out, and he's got all these businesses in America. All he cares about is the backhanders, what the Champions League in Europe's getting him. He don't care about adding to the squad. He's just, I think he brought Aubameyang, didn't he, for £50 million. They brought Lacazette in, Thomas Partey. I think they've only brought one big player in to shut like the fans up and that, innit? Because the fans like moan, oh, why are we not signing any players? And he just signs a big name star just to try and keep it together. And that's not how to run a football club. You build it on pride and confidence and positivity. And the way we've run it, maybe that's how Arsenal should run it. And Kroenke should take a leaf out of this guy's book.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, completely agree, and that is to me that should be what a lot of clubs should be looking at Leicester actually, and understanding that you can have success by doing it a different way to maybe the Chelsea route or the Man City route, which seems to be what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants instant success, don't they? Obviously Newcastle, another club that have sort of been trying to get a takeover, and it seems like that seems to be what clubs want to go down that Manchester City route, which is fair enough, I suppose. It will bring you success, I guess, but it isn't. It's not the right. I don't think it's the right way to do it. I think Arsenal have always tried to do things the right way, and unfortunately, with the Kroenkes, they just don't care enough about making a club successful, and they've lost a lot of money this year in their businesses actually. And in fact, I was saying it earlier on the Leicester channel that I was on, that if Arsenal don't qualify for Europe next season, either through the league or through the Europa League, they're not gonna invest in the team. So we're never going to be able to rebuild. And this is why it's so important. It was so important last night that we scored that goal to stay in the competition. For the, obviously we've got a lot more work to do yet to get through again. But even just getting in the top 6 in the league and getting in the Europa League next season,
the television money in that, and
the money that you get from that, and it's so important for Arsenal, because otherwise I can see it being a really, really difficult summer in terms of we're going to have to sell players to buy probably, and that's not really going to work because none of our players are worth anything to sell. That's our problem. We haven't been in a situation like Leicester where you've bought cheap, you can sell on a high price. The only players we can sell are players that we've overpaid for in the first place, and we're going to lose money on them. So we're not going to really be able to do that, unfortunately. And
I think Leicester's just built the right way. I think they sold Maguire for £85 million. They sold Mahrez for 65, I think it was. Drinkwater left for £35 million. Chilwell left for £50 million. We're buying players on the cheap and sending them off and making a profit and we're not spending big amounts of money to replace them. We're just going out to find hidden gems and spending low amounts on them and sending them for big amounts in the future when they become world class. And we're looking at the right players rather than ones just to make a name for ourselves. Because, Timo Werner and Havertz at Chelsea, You don't want to buy them just to make a name for yourself and think, oh, Leicester's going to win the league now. They've brought them to. It don't work like that. You've got to earn success. It's not just given on a table and say, here, oh, you're going to win the league next season. You've got to earn it. I think, and everything in the Premier League, in competition that you're playing, like Europe and FA Cup, you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to earn your way into it. It's not just given to you on a plate. And I think that's it with Man City, and that they just think everything's given to them, innit? And teams like Leicester have to earn their way rather than giving and taking.
No, exactly agree. And Shane's made a point at Southampton, they're kind of similar. They probably are actually on a slightly smaller scale to Leicester. I think they've done similar kind of work, haven't they, in that way, with buying players cheap, selling them on, mostly to Liverpool. That's how they've maybe managed to sustain themselves in the Premier League. And they've got a decent team now, actually, haven't they, as well, Southampton? And Shane said there, who knew when you sell players for a price instead of letting them run down their contracts and leave for nothing, it can benefit the club? Yeah, exactly. We've run into that issue too many times in recent years. We've got a lot of players on big contracts, and you just can't get rid of them because no one's going to buy them. And we've found that, and that's
like Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, Mesut Ozil was the biggest example of that. We're always going to lose money on that. Mustafi, we've had loads, and we've still got a few left at the club now that are under big contracts. That if we sold them, we're going to lose money. And unfortunately, we've made a habit of doing this year in, year after year. And unfortunately, you're never going to be able to progress, and that's what's happened. And that's why one of the biggest reasons why we're in the predicament now that we find ourselves in. And we're now looking up at clubs like Leicester and others as well, even West Ham now. We're looking up to clubs like that who a few years ago we were miles ahead of. And we've gone backwards so quickly. It's shocking, actually, really, when you think about it, where we were to where we are, and the amount of clubs that have now overtaken us just by running themselves in a better way with better plans. And to say your owners, when they came in, what an unbelievable job that's gone on at Leicester. It's
fantastic.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure you couldn't have imagined it yourself, could you? Like, say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where Leicester would be, what you would go through in that time. You couldn't have imagined it, could you?
Nah, as a Leicester fan, we was watching them in the Championship, then we went down to League One. We've watched them go up and down in the Premier League. And when we came up with Nigel, we've had playoffs and heartbreak and all that. And coming up to like the Premier League that season, it was just a case of we need to stay up. That were our main objective. Every time a team comes up to the Premier League, their main objective is staying up, and we did that. We had 8 games remaining that season where we thought, we're at the bottom, and we were so many points behind as well, and we thought, oh my God, we could be going down. And after the West Ham game, the fortunes changed. We beat West Ham, Newcastle, Swansea, picking up points where we didn't pick up points at the start against these teams. And I guess the luck changed for Leicester. And Vishay, when he come in 2010-11, brought the club from Milan Mandridge, and he said, I've got a plan and I'm going to stick to the plan. And then from there, it's just gone upwards rather than downwards. And that's all thanks to him and the things he's done for the club. He's not took from the club. All he's done is gave. He's never took from it. He's never been like Mike Ashley at Newcastle, where he's thought all about the money. He's made the fans in the club come together as a family, and that's what he wanted. And obviously, we lost him to the helicopter crash, which was sad news for us. And I guess Top couldn't top. He took over the club and his dad's legacy, and he said he's not going to sell the club just because his dad's not here. He's going to keep going with the club in his dad's memory, and he's done exactly that. And we're going upwards rather than downwards. So positive for Leicester in the future's bright for us. And I guess Vichai is looking down and thinking, Jobs here is doing well for us, and hopefully Top keeps it up. So he's looking down on Leicester with a smile on his face at the minute.
No, I'm sure he must be, because it's been remarkable, really, what's happened at Leicester over the last few years. And unfortunately, there's clubs like Arsenal are probably looking at Leicester almost with a little bit of jealousy, almost, and saying, why can't our club be run like that? Because with the resources and the size of a club like Arsenal, if we had an owner with a plan like that, there's no end to where we could go with it. but unfortunately we don't. We've got owners who don't care, and that's why we've ended up changing places with you guys in a sense now. You're the top 4 regulars, top 6 regulars, and we're now fighting to try to get back there. Yeah, exactly. Which is, it's nowhere near good enough really for us. But yeah, it just goes to show, doesn't it, what can be achieved. So brilliant work from everyone involved at Leicester. Actually, it's amazing. It's just a shame Gary Lineker has to be sort of involved because he doesn't have to take any credit for it, does he? No. But does he not own a stadium or something? Has he not got some stakes in the stadium? Gary
I think he's an ambassador.
Is he?
Club. So he's a boyhood Leicester fan as well. So it's nice for him. Yeah. And to get that hands on that trophy that season for him, he couldn't believe what he was seeing, I think, and neither could anybody else that season. 5,000 to 1, and you won the Premier League from the Great Escape previous that season. It was just crazy to watch as a fan as the season ticket holder. You just couldn't believe what were happening, and to go to the Champions League and around Europe the season after, it was crazy. It's just like nights in Seville and Madrid. It's just mad to watch, but you follow your boys, don't you, wherever they go, and you just hope the best and the result comes your way.
I mean, to be fair, everyone else was shocked at what was happening that season at Leicester.
Yeah.
Every week we're thinking they're going to lose this week. They're going to lose. They're going to start falling apart. And every week they kept winning. And in the end, we finished second in the end that season, but we didn't really get near, to be honest. After that game, when we beat you. After that, we never got near you. And
Arsenal, I think Arsenal fans thought, because I was speaking to some Arsenal fans after that game, and I was there at the Emirates that day, and I thought. They said to me, you know what, we're going to catch you. I said, no, you're not. I said, we're so many points ahead of you. And they laughed at me. And, everyone thinks Leicester's a laughing stock, this, that, and the other. And, but then Spurs went and lost to Chelsea. That drew that game with Chelsea. They drew, yeah. 2-0 down Chelsea was, and you thought to yourself, are Leicester going to win the league tonight? I think we drew against Man United that weekend, and to watch that Spurs game, it was tense, nail biting. I think Son scored, didn't he? Was it Kane as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think Willian scored for Chelsea, didn't he?
Gary Cahill scored. I think Gary Cahill from a corner, and then Eden Hazard bending it in top corner.
Oh, what's a goal?
It just imploded, didn't it? The Tottenham players were fighting the Chelsea players, and it just went up from there. But to watch a game like that from 2-0 down Chelsea to get a draw to win Leicester the title, madness. To celebrate that night, you just don't forget the memories, do you? And then see us lift that title against Everton. It's just crazy. They're memories that will live in your life in memory forever. So you just cherish them times.
Yeah, I must admit, I would have been one of them Arsenal fans after we beat you that day who was probably thinking, yeah, that's it now, we're going to catch you. And Leicester are going to fall apart as we expected them to do every week. And obviously it was, in the end, we had a terrible run after that. And we sort of dropped down, like you said, in the end, it was Tottenham that would have
lose
probably...
to Swansea as well, that game at the Emirates?
Sorry?
Did you lose to Swansea at the Emirates that season as well?
We lost to Swansea. We had a terrible run. We lost to Man United.
Chambers gave a shocking goal that game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Chambers, he ran towards our own goal on the touchline for some reason. Just got this. I don't know what he was doing to make it 2-0.
We just lost. We just lost it for about 4 or 5 games, and obviously you guys kept winning, and then we just had too much ground to make up. I say we did manage to overhaul Tottenham and come second, but it was a missed opportunity. I mean, I think a few teams felt it that season. Tottenham probably did. Man City, I think that was a first season under Pep, wasn't it? And they probably felt that.
No, I think they had Pellegrini, didn't they, that season? Because we beat them 3-1 at the Etihad, and I didn't think we'd do that. The players they've got, and I thought, when Robert Huth scored that first goal, I thought, okay, something's happening here. And then Morris scored, and then Robert Huth went and scored again. I thought, Man City 3-0 down against Leicester. It's incredible to watch. And then they scored Aguero. It was madness. I think that's when I started.
I remember that game.
Actually, Leicester could win the league.
That was the game for me. When you beat them 3-1, I thought you could win it now because Morris scored a fabulous goal.
Well, after the Arsenal game, that one, or was that before?
I don't know. I can't remember that.
I think it was after.
Yeah, because we played Norwich as well and won 1-0, I think, after we played you. Ajoa scored, and the stadium erupted. Leicester did as well. But we just didn't know when to lose. It was just a case of never do die attitude, and we just didn't know when to give up. And if you watch the Aston Villa game that season, when Aston Villa was winning, Jamie Vardy scored, and then Nathan Dyer scored with like the 90th minute. And I thought, hold on a minute, we'll just come back against Aston Villa. It was mad that season. And to beat Spurs 1-0 at the old White Hart Lane with Robert Huth's 50-pence header, it was just even more special.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was, I think it was maybe the year when it just all fell into place for Leicester, didn't it? That whole season, every single game. And like you said, you got so many late goals, important late goals in games. And you know it's your season when that happens. I mean, Liverpool did it last year, didn't they? A lot of late winners. And I think when that starts happening on a regular basis in a season, you kind of know it might well be your year, don't you? And obviously, it was for Leicester. I mean, that was an incredible story. That, as Melvin said, if that had been a documentary on Netflix, that would have been what an incredible story that is. Anyway, just the fact that it even happened. A club like Leicester winning the Premier League, when at that time, a club like Liverpool with all them trophies had never won it, and Leicester go in and win it like that, just unbelievable. I mean, as Melvin said before, that time when we finished the invincible season by beating you guys, you got relegated. Who would have thought that you would win the league before us next, the Premier League? You'd never have thought that, would you? Never ever have thought it. It is literally an incredible story. I mean, everyone goes on about when Wimbledon won the FA Cup back in the 80s. That was an incredible story, but it doesn't even come close to what Leicester did that season. It doesn't even come close. That was just. In a way, although obviously we were battling with you guys for the title, and every week we wanted to lose and stuff like that. Actually, when it got towards the end of the season, not just because it was Tottenham that you were fighting with at the end, but I wanted Leicester to win it just for the whole excitement of it all. A club like Leicester wins the Premier League. Yeah. You'd never ever have thought that possible. Never ever have thought it possible. It was always Man United winning it, or Chelsea with all their money, Man City with all their money, and for someone like Leicester to go and win it, it suddenly makes you think, you know what? Like you said before, anybody can do it. You've got the right. If you put the right,
believe in it, isn't it, and get the right blueprint.
And I say that will be. I don't think that'll ever be matched in football again. I really don't. I don't see how it can be in this modern day with the way football is. I can't see how another Leicester can happen. I mean, people were saying this season, that it could have been. There was a few teams that were Southampton, for example, were up there at one point. Everton, Aston Villa, and is it going to be another Leicester? And that's what everyone says now. Is it another Leicester? But there won't be another Leicester, because in the same way that when Arsenal won the league in '89 beating Liverpool, there'll never be another moment like that ever. And there'll never be another Leicester moment either. There won't be. And there'll be something else that might come along that'll be different, but you'll never get anything like that again. I don't think so. Not in my lifetime anyway. I mean, what a great experience for you guys as fans to have witnessed that. Just incredible, really. Anyway, if we just kind of before we round up today, I just want to kind of get our thoughts on this for Sunday. I must admit, I've gone through a lot of different. I've been up and down with this game for the last week. Actually, 1 minute I think we're going to lose heavily, then I think we might have a chance of winning, and it'll probably be a draw. I've gone for everything actually, so my head's all over the place with this. What are you thinking, Melvin? Now, having had a chance to calm down from last night, and obviously Leicester going out of the Europa League as well. What are you thinking now for the result on Sunday?
I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think we might take an early lead, back to the wall for the rest of the game, unless they get a go. I think it'll be 1-0. And
obviously Vardy will score.
Oh yeah. That's obviously
inevitably. So
even if he doesn't play, he's going to score.
Yeah, well, he scored already. Leicester already 1-0 up. Vardy's already scored.
Yeah,
because that's just how it goes. What are you thinking, Jack? Then are you confident that you're going to beat us?
I think talking to Arsenal fans, they think there's going to be a vengeance after Leicester losing last night. They don't seem to be confident going into the game. They think because Leicester's lost, there's going to be a right vengeance on the game of Leicester battering them or something. But I think we'll win the game 2-1. Vardy will score, and I'm going to go Harvey Barnes. For Arsenal, I'm going to go Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Well, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, if I'm honest. I'll say for me, I've been all over the place with this game. At the start of the week, I actually did think. I mean, I said it on the other Leicester show earlier in the week. I thought we'd probably lose this game 4-0 on the basis that we had got a trip to Greece, flying back on Friday, so early hours of Friday morning, playing Sunday lunchtime. I just thought, nah, he's going to have to change the team. And when we're without 3 or 4 of our better players, we're not good enough to compete with the top teams. But as the week's gone on, and obviously with what happened last night and Leicester going out, which was a big surprise, and looking into how bad your home form's been, actually, your last 4 defeats have been at home. So suddenly I've been given a revitalisation, actually, and now I think we might be able to get a result now. It's going to be a tough game, I know that, and you know, I would probably, if you offered me a draw now, I'd probably say, yeah, snap your hand off and take it. But I actually think we could potentially win. And I think we need to try and win because we can't afford to drop too many more points. But I think probably I'm going to maybe go with Melvin and go with a 1-1 just because I'm not quite sure if we're good enough to win away at Leicester. With, you know, you went through your team a little bit earlier and I looked at listening to some of them players and you're thinking, well, he's better than what we've got. He's better than what we've got. You know, we're going to rest a few players. I think Saka probably won't play, which is a shame. I think he needs a rest. I don't think Odegaard will play. I just think we're gonna probably have Willian and Pepe and players like this playing, and that's the kind of downside. But I don't know. I think we might be able to get a draw. And a 1-1 wouldn't be a bad result actually for us. I'm sure you probably need the win, don't you? With the way tight it is in the top at the moment, you know, every point dropped is a big deal. But we need what we can get if we're going to force our way back into the top 6, which I think we need to do. But it's not looking. I mean, if we lose tomorrow, that'll be 12 defeats already in the league, and that's far too many. And unfortunately, that's where we are.
I just think with Leicester, it's about if we win our game against Arsenal and Man City go and beat West Ham and Man United beat Chelsea, it's cementing the top 4 for us. Because that puts like 12 points ahead of Chelsea then. And then 7 points ahead of West Ham in 4th. So, you know, it keep us up there. So,
yeah, no, it would. Obviously, it's an important game. I mean, the only kind of concern. I mean, I know a lot of Arsenal fans have said that they quite fancied Brendan Rodgers as manager. Actually, before
he was after him before.
Yeah, and even now, and I don't know. I've got a few doubts. Before we go, I did want to kind of ask you about that. I mean, obviously, last season you were in a great position to finish in the top 4, and you kind of blew it at the end. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers blew the league title with Liverpool a few years ago. He's never got through a group a knockout stage in Europe, has he? Last 4 or 5 times he's played there for all the clubs he's been at. Do you feel that he is? Do you think there's some issue that he's got there with maybe not being able to quite get it over the line, whatever it is he's chasing, whether it's a top 4, whether it's the league title, whatever it is? Do you think there's an issue there or not with him?
I just think with Brendan, you know, we were top 4 for so long last season, and you know everyone expected Leicester in top 4. I guess we just let the pressure get to us. We had the Project Restart, and then the Project Restart, you know, didn't really come at a good time for us because after we played Norwich and drew 1-1 at the King Power, we didn't really play well. We'd got knocked out against Villa in the Cup. Villa went to Wembley, we didn't. But I guess with Brendan, it's all about confidence, and if we ain't got confidence, we don't really perform well. And I guess missing out on top 4 last season hurt us, especially after losing to Man United last game of the season. It hurt very bad, like not just the fans but the players as well. But I think Brendan's picked his team up this season, said, "Come on, lads, we can do this. Dust yourselves down, and we'll go again." And he's made them believe in their own abilities again, and he's made them become back more stronger and where we are on merit. And I think Brendan is the right man for the job and can get us Champions League this season for sure.
But say, for example, if a similar thing happens again at the end of this season, maybe you finish 5th again, you maybe lose a few games at the end, would you still feel the same, or would you still be prepared to give him another opportunity next season, or do you think that maybe that's as far as he can take Leicester as a manager?
I guess with Brendan Rodgers, you know, if it happened again, you'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? It's happened twice in 2 seasons, but I think this season he's got the players on board. They've he's said to them, let's put the mistakes right from last season. And I think they're doing that. We're 13 points off this season than what we was last season. So 13 points, what we finished off with after 38 games last season. So 13 points more this season with 13 games to go is good for Leicester. So it'd be a better points tally if we can keep winning the games. But we don't seem to be scared of the so-called Big Six. I know Man City's on a run at the minute, but who's going to end their streak? Will it be Leicester? Who knows? It's just where the season's going to take you, isn't it? With the unpredictability Premier League this season, anyone's beaten anybody, and it's difficult to say who's going to win the game because you're not guaranteed 3 points. And how Arsenal look at games this season, like the Chelsea game and that, they didn't think they'd get 3 points, but they did. And that was just built on confidence.
Yeah, no, it's true. And, I suppose from our point of view for Sunday, we've got to hope that maybe the confidence has been knocked after last night and Brendan's found it difficult to lift them and we can go and get a result. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens actually the rest of the season. You're still in the FA Cup, of course, as well. And, you've got a chance of doing something in that as well. Because, like you said, you don't fear the big team. So there's no reason why you can't go all the way, maybe. Because, that'd be good, wouldn't it? You've never won the FA Cup, have you, Leicester?
No, I think we've got to 4 finals. Apart from that, no, we've not won the FA Cup. But in today's press conference, Brendan Rodgers, he said he wants to get Champions League and also go for the FA Cup. So he wants both. So which one he prefers more, I don't know. But as a fan, I'd take both because we've never won the FA Cup. And me and Jamie from Leicester Fan TV were having a debate of, would you want to win the Europa League or would you want to win the FA Cup? Which one would you guys prefer if you had to win one, or would you take both?
I'd like to take both, obviously, but I'll take the Europa League because we're we want to get back into Europe. We have to take the FA Cup over. Sorry, I suppose I'd like the Europa League on the basis that we've hardly ever won it. We haven't never won it actually, have we?
Not Europa League.
Europa League I'd go for.
Yeah, I would go for the Europa League for 2 reasons. One, because we've won the FA Cup quite recently a few times, and it's nice. But the Europa League, one, it's a European competition, which we haven't done very well in historically, and 2, it's a guaranteed Champions League spot as well. So I would definitely take the Europa League over the FA Cup because the FA Cup doesn't give you Champions League, does it? In fact, it's not even going to give you Europa League next season, is it? So yeah, I would take that on that basis, really. But I think European football is different, and it's not something that Arsenal have got any history in, and obviously Leicester either, really. But for me, that would be the big one out of the 2 if I had to choose. But mainly for the Champions League prize at the end of it, really. Obviously you can get Champions League through the league this season anyway. So
yeah.
Chance of getting that, whereas we haven't. Our only hope is to try and win this Europa League this year. So I would snap your hand off to get that, but I'm not sure if we're good enough, if I'm honest. But you never know. Cups are different, aren't they? You've only got to play well a couple of times. You can get through, especially 2 legs. You can get through, and then suddenly semi-final, and then you never know, dear. So I'm going to believe until we get knocked out that we can win it, and let's see what happens by the end of the season. But yeah, I would definitely take that out of the 2. Well, what would you go for then if you had to pick one?
Well, if we're top 4,
you've only got one left now.
If we're top 4 this season, obviously, if we didn't get knocked out last night, with top 4 this season, it's guaranteed Champions League, isn't it? If you win the Europa League, you're going to be in the Champions League anyway, so you just could be earning a trophy. I'd love to win the FA Cup because we haven't won it, so I guess that's Europa League, isn't it? The FA Cup, if you win that as well. So
yeah.
I don't think it is next season. I think it's that new competition, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Right.
To that?
I think they've changed it. I think it's that new competition now. It's not Europa League, or it's Europa League qualifiers, or it's something. It's not like it used to be. They've downgraded it this season, the FA Cup.
I guess it's just hard. I guess it's just hard to pick between the both. But I'd love to win the FA Cup because we've never won it. But I think Arsenal, everyone wrote them off against Manchester City, didn't they, in the FA Cup? And you beat them. They wrote you off against Chelsea as well, and you'd done that. So I guess anyone can beat anybody on the day. You're not guaranteed to lose. Look at when Bradford and Swansea made that final that year in the Carabao Cup. Who would have expected that? Bradford to beat Arsenal and teams like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So,
no, it can happen. It can happen.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that's what cup football's all about, isn't it? You know, you don't always get the winner you expect. And then, you know, I look at the teams left in the Europa League at the moment, and I'm thinking, you know, if we can avoid injuries, if we can keep our players fit, we've got a chance, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still not quite convinced that we've quite got enough to go all the way, but you never know.
No, that's
you
it.
Never know. Yeah, Man United and AC Milan are playing each other, so one of them's going out, and then that's one of the strong teams out, isn't it? So
that's it.
You know, it suddenly increases your chances. But Olympiacos knocked us out last year, so I'm not going to get too carried away yet because.
Weren't that the game that Aubameyang missed at City?
Yeah.
I remember it. Yeah, he missed that City to like get Arsenal through. But
yeah, he did. Yeah, that was terrible. That, I mean, he was talking about it last night after the game because obviously he scored a late goal last night to make up for it, really. But he needs to make up for it against Olympiacos in the next round as well, put us through, and then it'll be happy days, and we can move on to the. I think it'll be the quarterfinals after that. So you know, you're not far away, then, are you?
No.
And then you never know. Anyway, I mean, Jack, thanks for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. Obviously, you know, I was going to say enjoy the game on Sunday, and yes, enjoy it, but I hope you don't enjoy it too much.
Good luck after Sunday.
But enjoy the rest of the season afterwards.
I will do, you too.
I hope you get in the top four, as long as it's not at our expense, which I don't think it's going to be, because I think we're going to be miles away. I just obviously give your channel a bit of a plug as well. I'm going on there actually on Sunday morning to speak
with
to Jamie.
Yeah. So we're Leicester Fan TV. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Leicester Fan TV. We're a fan channel who do watch-alongs for every single game. We do a Monday night fan zone show. And we do a aftermath/preview show with Jamie every Sunday. So, and we've obviously got locks on a Friday to preview every game. So you won't be disappointed if you go and watch our content. Just like and subscribe, and yeah, you'll enjoy it. And hopefully I'll see you over there in the comment section or maybe on the live stream.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big fan of Leicester Fan TV since I spoke to Jamie back in earlier in the season, obviously before we played you guys before, and I've been following a lot of your stuff, and it's great actually. I watch you quite a lot, and it is great. So yeah, I'm going on Sunday morning to speak to Jamie before the game, so that's going to be interesting. Probably by Sunday morning, I'd say we're going to win by then. I'd be changed my mind again. I'll be so convinced we're going to win. So, but I don't know. I'll see how I feel on Sunday. I've been getting more confident as the week's gone on, I must admit. So maybe by Sunday I might say we're going to win 4-0. That'd be good, or 5-2 again maybe. That might be what's happening.
Or a volley goal in the 90th minute to win 1-0.
Well, yeah, he's going to score at some point, isn't he? That's obvious. We all know that.
He is.
But yeah, thanks to you as well, Melvin. Again, fantastic to some of the memories again, of course, about some of them games and those players as well. Some of them that you're the only one who remembered them actually, which is always nice.
Well, thanks again. Really enjoyed being on it. I suppose I get more confident as the game draws closer. So yeah, I'm staying 1-0 at the moment. I'll probably go 2-1 just for a kick-off, but we'll see. Thanks again for inviting me on. Nice to meet you, Jack. And
you too.
You'll find me on this channel from Dull Square to Where, and on Ryan's channel, Mr. Arsenal 89. And really enjoy doing all of them. So thanks again, and good luck for Sunday. Not too much, but good luck for Sunday.
You too.
Well, good luck for after Sunday, not on Sunday.
Yeah,
we need all the luck we can get. We need all the luck we can get in a minute, actually. But anyway, we'll see. I'm sure it'll be a good game, actually. It usually is a decent game,
it'd be a good watch of football, I'm sure.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I mean, I'll be doing a watch along on this channel as well.
Yeah, we've got one as well on Sunday. Half 11 we start. So, and then Jamie's show before at 10 o'clock with you. So
yeah, so that'll be good. Yeah, so obviously go and watch that as well and subscribe to them. And I say I've got a lot of stuff coming. I've got a preview video of the game going out tomorrow. I've already recorded it. It's going out at lunchtime. And then obviously the watch along and stuff on Sunday. And I'll be on the Leicester Fan TV Sunday morning as well. So that'd be quite a laugh because it's always a good show on that with Jamie.
Yeah. Like Jamie says, if you can't win, don't lose.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much a good philosophy, isn't it? Really, when it comes to when it comes to life as well as anything else, I suppose. But yeah, so that's going to be good as well. So thanks to all you guys in the chat as well. There's some great comments as well, Shane and Gareth as well, the Newcastle fan. Luca was in. He actually says 1-1 as well. Luca said 1-1 draw. So yeah, that could be the score. You never know. Gary was in earlier as well. Ryan and Albert, a few others as well. So thanks for all you guys for watching. Obviously, Chris was in as well from Leicester Till I Die earlier on. I was on his channel before. That's a good channel as well. So nip over there and watch what he does. Good stuff there as well. There's a lot of good channels about at the minute. I'm finding from all different clubs, and I know we all have our own clubs and stuff like that. But it's nice to watch content from other clubs as well. And what we realise is most fans of clubs are very similar in how we feel about football and how we feel about our club. We all want the best for them, and we're frustrated when we lose, and we're overjoyed when we win, probably to the extremes, either end too much maybe. We don't have that balance often, do we? Because it's our club, and that's the way it is. But it's good stuff, and it's great to hear from every other club as well. And it's good to get to have you on today as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Luca said there that he subscribes to Leicester Till I Die as well. Oh, and subscribe to Leicester Fan TV as well, Luca, as well. Make sure you subscribe to them as well, because they're good as well. So make sure you do that. So thanks all you guys for watching. Thanks obviously to Melvin, as always. Absolute pleasure. Probably speak to you. You're going to come on this show on Sunday after the game again, Melvin?
Yeah, come on. Yes, if don't mind. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, we do after the match show. We do a bit of fan reaction as well, so that'll be good. And obviously thanks to Jack as well from Leicester Fan TV for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it.
So thanks to everyone for watching, and we will. And actually, Luke has just put another comment in there. He's looking for a Leicester fan, he said, to go on his channel. I don't know, anyone might want to go on there. If you're watching, you're a Leicester fan, you want to go on Luke's channel, then get in touch with him. He loves James Maddison as well. Well, we all love James Maddison, don't we? We'll love him even more this weekend because he's not playing. So I actually like him better for that reason, actually. And he's going to subscribe to Leicester Fan TV as well, which is good. And Shane, brilliant stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Shane. Thanks for watching again. I know you watch a lot of the stuff that I do, which is great. So it's good to have you on board. So thanks everyone for watching, everything like that. And thanks to Jack from Leicester Fan TV. Brilliant. Thanks to Melvin as always. Thanks to you guys for watching. Please subscribe and give it a like if you haven't done so already. And I will speak to you guys again on Sunday for the big match. Enjoy, and we'll speak again soon. Cheers, everyone. Come on, you Gunners. Come on, you Gunners. I need to find the video. Don't give it all that now.